Yes, sir. It is a dark and gloomy day here in Fiji right now, but it is probably because of what we saw yesterday with Fiji, to be completely honest with you. But hey guys, how you going? So down BK Sport, we are live as New Zealand take on Tonga, and hopefully a better match than we had to stay up either late or wake up extremely early for between Australia and England this morning. I am very, very tired, but we're going to punch through, son. We're going to punch through like the early biffos of last night's Australia versus England game, and we're going to see who makes the final and who goes to play Papua New Guinea in the promotion relegation game that we only found out about yesterday. Yes, we only found out about yesterday. There's been no promotion for it, but I did pick up in the commentary that they were saying that, and it was at the end of the game too, mind you, between Fiji and Papua New Guinea. At the end of the game, they was talking about how this was the last game of the group, and next week, whoever won that game was going to be playing against the team that comes third in the Pacific Cup. So we found that out yesterday. Well done. Hopefully you joined the party now or beforehand, or hopefully you knew about it beforehand than we knew about it. Because, we live our life vicariously through NRL, and yet we still did not know jack shit about how the tournament was going down. But today's game at Kiwis versus Tonga, huge game because Tonga can still make the final. It is a very tough task, though. If they do it, it will be an absolute miracle. We are more than likely going to be seeing Papua New Guinea versus Tonga next week in the promotion relegation game, which would be interesting because New Zealand last year did pump Papua New Guinea in that promotion relegation game by about 40 points. I think it was like 52 to 10 or something like that. Let me quickly have a look here. It was 54 to 12, so it was 2 points off on either side. Point is that New Zealand would have given them a bit of a touch-up. But, look, it might be interesting if Tonga play like they did last week, next week, then if they play a similar style this week, they might struggle a little bit against the Papua New Guineans. Even though I didn't think that Papua New Guinea were ultimately that unbelievable yesterday, they still were clearly better than whatever we saw from Fiji. So that'd be interesting. But we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves because if Tonga do win this game by 18 points, they would actually go into the final, and New Zealand would be playing Papua New Guinea next week. So Tonga needs to have the greatest game of their lives. They do. They need to have the greatest game of their lives, a bit of Matama Tonga action, fire up, get it going, and try and cause the big upset here in New Zealand, which is at Eden Park in Auckland. However, even though this is a New Zealand home game, as we know, when Tonga come to play, usually it is a Tongan home game when it goes to New Zealand. Not necessarily all the time we see it in Australia, but in New Zealand, definitely you see Tonga. That is the red wall there. And although they did struggle quite a big margin to Samoa last week, I expect them to fire up here for this game. So let's get into the two team lineups. We'll go into their recent game where New Zealand obviously played Samoa and so did Tonga. And then we'll get into, again, the ladder, and we'll see what you guys are saying in the chat. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. We're live for every single Rugby League game. We've still got next week to come. And then we have the Cricket Ashes, the Australia versus England in the Cricket Ashes, comparatively to the Rugby League Ashes, which hasn't been that competitive. I'm not going to lie. It hasn't been too fantastic. But like I said, thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get into it. So the New Zealand Kiwis, they come into this game from second position in the group stage, and Tonga come to this game from third position, and this is at Eden Park in Auckland. Now, the ins here for New Zealand, Scotty Sorensen, Tamati Martin, and Xavier Willison, with the outs being Jerry Marshall-King, Nelson Asafa Solomona, and Ronaldo Molitalo. He does have a date with Fortnite, so unfortunately he cannot play today. But a couple big ins there. Xavier Willison, is he actually in the team? He is. He is into the bench there, which is huge. I love to see that. Scott Sorensen's actually still the 18th man. Tamati Martin obviously coming in as that 14. So let's read through it. But overall, there is some pretty big ins there. Marshall King hasn't necessarily been at his greatest. Nelson Asafa Solomona, we all know his ups and downs, and Molitalo is a very good winger, so you spew and you lose him. But let's move now into the team lineup, which is Charles Nichol-Klukstad in the fullback. I did see, however, on New Zealand socials that he's not playing fullback, and Keano Kinney is potentially playing the fullback. So I'm going to quickly jump onto Instagram here because Keano Kinney is named for the wing. Now, Keano Kinney at the Gold Coast Titans is the fullback, but it's got here still on NRL.com that he is playing, one second here, Kiwis. It's got here that he's playing as the winger, but New Zealand Rugby League, I swear, posted something about fullback here. Here we go. So Keano Kinney, the kid is in at fullback. Okay, so CNK slides to centre, Casey to wing. I'm glad that I read this because this is an update on the NRL.com app. So on the NRL.com, they've got Charles Nichol-Klukstad fullback, wingers with Jermaine Asako and Keano Kinney, and the centres are Matty Tomoko and Casey McLean. But on Instagram, the New Zealand Rugby League team has just announced that CNK, Charles Nichol-Klukstad, will slide into the centre, Casey will go to the wing and Keanu will go to the fullback. And that is what I've been calling for so long, because I do believe that Keanu should be the fullback. I do believe that Chance will be good in the centres, and Case McLean shifting out to the wing. It would have been interesting what happened if Molitalo was playing, but overall he's not. So interesting couple of changes there. So that means that Jermaine Sarko and Matty Tomoko do stay in their specific positions of the 3 and the 2. Then you go to the 5'8", Dylan Brown, with the halfback being Kieran Foran. The front row forwards are James Fisher-Harris, who is the captain, alongside Moses Leota. And the number 9 is Phoenix Crossland. You go to the back row, which is Isaiah Papali'i and Britton Nakora. And the 13 is Joseph Tarpany. Interchange with Tamati Martin, Nafahu White, Aaron Clark, and Xavier Willison. 18th man replacement is Scotty Sorensen. So massive changes there in the back line. I do like it, however, because I think that Keanu Kenny could have been done over quite well by these wingers, especially if he was on, say, the side of Daniel Tupou. Keanu Kenny is a much smaller man than Daniel Tupou, and they would have absolutely blasted that side with kicks, especially considering Tupou is one of those 3 guys that is just always a cheat code when you kick it to him. Whether it be Namana Tawase, or whether it be Xavier Coates, whether it be Daniel Tupou, they're all in the same conversation. So Keanu Kenny, if he had gone up against Tupou, would have been interesting. If he had gone up against Sione Katoa, then that's a very similar battle in regards to height. But again, he's moved to the fullback. The halves need to get it going today. Look, when New Zealand played a couple of weeks ago against Samoa, they did win 24-18. But I will be honest with you and say the reason why I tipped Samoa against Tonga last week, where Samoa won 34-6, was because in this game against the Kiwis, I do think that Samoa probably should have won that game by a decent bit. I think they could have won that game by about 12 points if they were red hot and firing like we saw last week. It seemed like they needed a game to click into gear because they had about 3, 4, maybe even 5 opportunities to score. That was their own detriment as the reason they didn't score. One of them being when, I can't remember who it was that broke through, maybe it was Blaze Halangi, passed the ball too hard. It would have been a try underneath the post, and that was actually when it was 18-18, mind you. They blew that because it was a knock-on due to the hard pass. There was a heavy step from, I think, maybe Murray Talangi or whatnot, that he put his foot over the sideline when he didn't need that heavy of a step. But at the end of the day, it was kind of their own detriment. There was multiple mistakes on that left-hand sideline where they could have scored multiple times. Samoa probably should have won that game, which would have made this game even more interesting. It would have made it a ridiculous amount interesting because then it would have been just whoever wins this will be going into the final against Samoa, but they just weren't able to do it, and the Kiwis were able to win 24-18. So I do need to see a bit more from the back line overall from New Zealand, and specifically in regards to the 6, 7, and 9. And yes, they are moving Keanu into the fullback, so that's different. But 6, 7, and 9, you've got Dylan Brown, who is off to the Newcastle Knights next year. I hope they keep him in the 6. It'd be ridiculous for me to see him in the 7 next year for the Knights, but there is talk about it. Kieran Foran, who's obviously this could potentially be his last game ever in rugby league today. If not, then it will be next week. And then Phoenix Crossland, who I don't rate a fantastic amount. I don't rate a gigantic amount there. So I just need to see so much more in regards to their attack because ultimately their forwards did a massive job against Samoa. They really did. New Zealand were very, very clean in how they played in that game, but they just weren't able to really put them to bed, which they should have. They didn't put them to bed, and they were able to win the game by 6, but I feel like, again, that was more so because of Samoa making their own detrimental mistakes internally, rather than New Zealand forcing those mistakes out of them or, being too dominant and just cleanly winning the game. I did really like how New Zealand played through the forwards. I did really like what they were doing, and especially going up against Samoa when they've got the likes of Payne Haas and whatnot. It was a big job that they did. It was a massive, massive job. So I just need to see a little bit better here for mine out of the back line. Because Casey McLean did have a great game, to be fair. Casey McLean had a fantastic game. Adi Tomoko did score. But I just need to see a bit more direction when it comes to the halves and putting a team to bed. And especially based off what we saw last week from Tonga, New Zealand should be putting Tonga to bed in this game. I don't think it's a debate. They should be putting them to bed. But let's move now to the Tonga team, where they've got a couple of big ins. Jason Taumalolo, Kulakefu Finifibiaki, and Will Penasini. The outs being Robert Toya, Stefano Utukamanu, and Tolotau Kuala. Kuala's a big loss there. A lot of pace, a lot of energy. Toya, not that he had a fantastic game last week, but then again, who did? And Utukamanu, he's got a bigger mouth than he does his playing style at the moment. Jason Taumalolo was a huge in, but how much is he actually going to be able to adjust to this Tongan team? Will be... Obviously, have to wait and see. But Finifibiaki, he's fine, and he comes straight into that starting back row. But the team lineup, Lehigh Bawade, he's the fullback, with the wingers being Daniel Tupou and Sione Katoa. Centres of Paul Alamoti and the incoming centre from it, who was originally number 19, Will Penasini. The 5'8" is Isaiah Yongi, with the halfback being Asai Katoa. The front row forwards are Adam Finor-Blake, who is the captain, and Moiki Fotuaika comes in from the 17 to the starting prop, with the number 9 being Saliva Havili. Back row of Elias Katoa and Kulikefu Finifeuaki comes in from the 18th man into the starting back row, and Jason Tamalolo is the 13. Interchange, Blaze Kafusi drops out from the front row to the bench, which is what you see a lot from him in the NRL and also obviously now. Siwa Wong drops out from the back row to the bench, Sonny Luke and Dimitri Vaimalga, with the 18th man replacement being Leka Halasima, who does go to the 18th man, which is very interesting. He was originally on the bench. I am surprised by it. I think that is quite a bit rough on him, especially considering that he had such an incredible year. I know Kulikefu Finifeuaki is probably a bit more experienced, but overall I do like the potential a lot out of a guy like Alasima, and I probably would have played him to be fair, but that's not my decision. So look, Tonga's team, everything needs to be improved from last week. Last week was absolutely horrific. They were down big. They just simply weren't in the game. Samoa came in much more aggression, much more physicality. You know, they scored through Isaac Tonga with the centres, Jeremiah Nane the back row, Murray Talanga in the wing, a front rower in Payne Haas, and and one of their halves in Channel Harris Tavita. That is everyone scoring for Samoa. Every single one. And it's mainly the second half where they did him over. It was only, 12-0 at halftime where Tonga's in it, but unfortunately they just completely fell apart. And we were a part of the delay due to the storm and lightning and whatnot and hailstones or whatever did delay the game quite heavily around, I think, the 59th minute of the game. And then you have seen Samoa score through Talangi, Payne Haas, and Harris Tavita in the 61st, the 65th, and 75th minute. And you did see when they were all kind of lounging around effectively, when they were all lounging around and waiting for the game to get kicked off again, you could see Samoa was still in their mind. They were still in it. They still had their minds on the job, whilst Tonga were quite lethargic in the sheds, and it was like the game was over. And it realistically wasn't, even though it was, at that time, it was 16-0. It's not like it was out of the equation. It wasn't out of the equation, but they just didn't seem like they had it in for that last 20 or so minutes. But look, overall, Tonga's team, they do have a good forward pack. Adam Finor-Blake and Moiki Fotuaika. Finor-Blake is fantastic. He's one of the best front rowers in the game. Moiki Fotuaika, Queensland representative, and also multiple stints now for Tonga. Elias Katoa, he's fantastic for the Melbourne Storm. Jason Tamalolo, we all know that he's a part of the reason, the growth of the islands from back in the day. He was a huge switchover from the big international teams. And look, their forward pack should be able to go closely with the New Zealand team. It's not like New Zealand have a fantastic forward pack, but so do the Tongans. The only issue that I would find is Kulikefu Finifeuaki, because you look at the back row, it's Britt Nakora, massive, Isaiah Papali'i, massive, Elias Katoa, massive. Finifeuaki is a bit of a drop-off from the group there. So if you're going to compare back rows, you are leaning with New Zealand. Then if you're comparing 13s of Tapani and Tamalolo, if you're talking 5, 6, 7 years ago, you're taking Tamalolo. You're talking now, you're taking Tapani. So that is 2-0 in a comparison battle. Then you go to the front row forwards of Fisher, Harrison, Leota versus Adam Finor-Blake and Moiki Fotuaika. I think that if you want to take their Panthers form, sure, you take Fisher, Harrison, Leota. But I do think that Adam Finor-Blake and Moiki Fotuaika could come together collectively to beat out New Zealand. In a game like this, it is a massive battle where you would effectively be looking at the main man being Finor-Blake for Tonga and the main man being James Fisher-Harris for New Zealand, whilst the second in charge would be Moiki Fotuaika for Tonga and the second in charge being Moses Leota. I think that Fotuaika has much more of a ceiling than what Leota has, but Leota has a really solid floor that just continuously gets behind a guy like Fisher-Harris. Fisher-Harris hasn't had a great year for the New Zealand Warriors. Yes, they were able to improve, and sure, he was able to help them fix their defensive woes for the first half of the year, but the second half of the year they got quite exposed. The Warriors in the back end. Adam Finor-Blake was he a big addition to the Sharks? Look, sure, you can argue that, but they didn't progress or regress from what they did last year, and this year they came in the same spot in the preliminary final. So, what realistically happened there? But obviously, for mine, I will switch up. I will actually say Tonga might win that front row forward battle. I just think that there's a bit more ceiling from both of those guys there, and Finor-Blake brings a lot of the attack, and We just need to see Mo kind of get back to it too, because Moaki Fotuaika hasn't had a great year. He's been having a couple down years, realistically. And we need to see him getting back to that really barnstorming runs that we know that he can do. You look at the nine of Crossland and Havili, this is a bit of a wash. Crossland can be awful, but Crossland can also do his job. Saliva Havili can be awful, but Saliva Havili can also do his job. I'm going to keep that as a wash and still just remain as 2-1 to New Zealand right now, where they've got the 13 in the back rowers, but Thailand probably maybe just links up for the front row forwards, because I just don't think there is a clear and definitive leader there between Crossland and Havili. And then you go to the halves of Kieran Foran and Dylan Brown up against Isai Katoa and Isaiah Yongi, and this comes down to what your preference is. Do you prefer the experience there of Kieran Foran and Dylan Brown, despite the fact that Kieran Foran this potentially could be his last game of his entire career? Or do you look towards the young up-and-comers there from the Parramatta Eels and Isaiah Yongi and the Redcliffe Dolphins and Isai Katoa and say, well, they have a higher ceiling because they're so fresh in their career and they have a lot to prove? I am going to still take the Kiwis here and say there's a lot more confidence behind these halves than we are going to see from the Tongans, but the Tongans do have a higher ceiling in their halves department because they're so young, they're so fresh, and they do have a lot going for them. So I am going to take New Zealand, but I would not be surprised if the halves of Tonga do get it going today overall compared to what we saw last week, and maybe potentially able to beat out this the aging Kiwis halves. And I say that specifically to Kieran because Dylan's still, he's still kicking around in a good age, but Foz is getting right onto the back of his career. So that'll be an interesting battle, but I will go 3-1 to the Kiwis there. And then you go to the wings, and I'm going to see if I can refresh it to see if they've updated it on the wings yet. They haven't. So on the wings, you're going to have Casey McLean and Jermaine Isako for New Zealand, and then the wingers of Daniel Tupou and Sione Katoa for the Tongans. I am actually going to lean with Tonga there. I think Daniel Tupou is a cheat code in the air. I think he's a really hard runner of the ball back. I think he is solid. And Sione Katoa, his work rate, he just really gets into it for a winger. He's not a big frame, massive, tall winger. He just really gets into it. And I will actually lean with Tonga there. Jermaine Isako, he can be a bit hit or miss. Probably more often than... No, he's very much a hit or miss. And then Case McLean, he usually plays in the centre and they're pushing him out to the wing. So that's why we'll lean with Tonga there. So we're just 3-2. And then you go to the centres, where it's going to be Matty Tomoko and Chance Nickel-Klokstad up against Paul Alamotti and Will Penasini. I do think there's more confidence behind the centre pairing for New Zealand than I do find for Tonga, even though Alamotti has been huge since going across the Panthers and whatnot, and Will Penasini has been hit or miss, especially in recent years, but does have a high ceiling when he really gets it going. But it's just he has been more hit or miss in this stage of his career. So that's why I will still take Matty Tomoko and Chance Nickel-Klokstad. Then when you go to the fullbacks, Keanu Kenny and Lee Hapuade, you can call me biased all you like, but I am taking Keanu Kenny every day of the week over Lee Hapuade there. I think Hapuade is a great player, but I do think that Keanu has really established himself now as being able to push into that fullback position for New Zealand. He was injured for most of this year. He was able to beat out guys like Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson when it came to that fullback battle, and AJ had more experience. Jaden had more experience, but yeah, Keanu really came in and just absolutely dominated that position, and unfortunately was just injured for the majority of this year. So I am taking New Zealand fullback over the Tongan fullback. So it would be, I think, 5-3 if I'm getting that number correct. 5-3, and then if we talk about the bench as a total, Tamati Martin, Nafahu White, Aaron Clark, and Xavier Willison up against Felice Kafusi, Siwa Wong, Sonny Luke, and Dimitri Famalga. I do heavily lean with that Kiwi 14, 15, 16, and 17. Xavier Willison, huge off the bench, massive body, premiership winner now with the Broncos. Tamati Martin, he's a really good 14. Nafahu White and Aaron Clark had an incredible year for... Both Nafahu White and Aaron Clark had incredible years for the Roosters and also the Warriors, respectively. I do take that New Zealand interchange. So overall, I do have to take the Kiwis here, but I would not be ultimately surprised if Tonga could find a way to sneak it. They did beat New Zealand last year, that people do seem to forget about. They won, what was it, 1 point? Was it 25-24? It was 25-24 to Tonga last year against the Kiwis, and that was at Go Media Stadium in Auckland. There was a penalty and then the field goal from Isai Katoa in the 75th minute. I think the Kiwis had a chance at a field goal, but they just absolutely fluffed it up. Overall, I'm taking the Kiwis here. I'm going to take them 1-12. I think people will be heavily inclined to go with New Zealand 13 plus here, but I do think Tonga give it a red hot crack to at least keep them in the game. I think they'll keep themselves in the game. Do they win it? I don't know, but I just think New Zealand have a bit too much class across the 17 comparatively. But like I said, in regards to the championship table, the Pacific Cup table, so Toa Samoa are on top. If the Kiwis are to win this game, they would go into first position. It doesn't really mean anything except for the fact that they are just going to be playing, I guess, as the technical home team in that final next week against the Tonga against Samoa. But if Tonga was to win this game, they have to win this game by 18 points because they're on minus 28 after their flogging by the Samoans last week, and the Kiwis are on plus 6. So plus 18 would take Tonga to minus 10, and it would take the Kiwis to minus 12. Let me just make sure of that. 6 to 0, 10, 16. Yeah, okay. So 18, they definitely have to win by 18 points, would take them to minus 12, which would put Tonga into second position, and then they'd get their chance at a revenge next week. So if Tonga win, 18 points or more, they're in. If they win, but 17 points or less, it doesn't matter. They still finish in third, and then they will be playing Papua New Guinea next week in a promotion relegation game. And the same thing goes to the Kiwis. If they win this game or lose by less than 17, then they are into the final next week regardless. If they lose by 18 or more, then they will be playing Papua New Guinea next week in the promotion relegation game. So a lot to play for here today. I just don't see Tonga having the ability to win by 18 points. If that happens, it would be an absolute miracle. It'd be an absolute damn well miracle, and it would be great for the game. It would be fantastic to see Samoa versus Tonga playing for the Pacific Cup final. We did see New Zealand get knocked out early to Tonga and Australia last year, so they've got a bit to prove in regards to getting to that final and winning that final, especially with Australia not being here. I'm aware Kiwis that the Kiwis beat Australia a couple of years ago. Very much a one-off when we look at history. But the point is that with Australia not here, this is the prime opportunity for all of Tonga, Kiwis, and Tonga Samoa to actually get a title into their trophy cabinet. And I think that if I'm Papua New Guinea right now, I'd definitely be preferring Tonga to not get into that final. They would prefer to play Tonga, despite the fact that I do think Tonga will still win that game. Papua New Guinea's aggression and physicality could go toe-to-toe with them, but I still think there's going to be more class in that Tongan team. But people do usually underestimate Papua New Guinea. But the thing is that when Papua New Guinea play Fiji, they just seem to always win, regardless of the underestimation. But if they play against a big dog team like a New Zealand, like an Australia, like a Samoa, like a Tonga, they usually still get beaten quite well. So that's the interesting there with the Comores. But it would be awesome for the game if we did see... it's awesome for the game regardless. If we see Tonga versus Samoa, then that's massive because of the rivalry. If we see Papua New Guinea versus Tonga, that's massive because they're both the two biggest fan bases in the game. And it would be huge to see if Papua New Guinea have made an upgrade in regards to their team and are progressing and developing as a nation. Because yesterday, the stats didn't show them actually having that fantastic of a game, but the stats show that Fiji were absolutely awful. So Fiji don't have the ability to kind of change that around, whilst Papua New Guinea have the ability to show that we can be confident in their growth and development as they're getting an NRL team in a couple of years and as they're growing as an international nation. So, look, I'm taking New Zealand here in this game. I'm taking them 1-12. I think Tonga will be up for it, but New Zealand should be too good. If Tonga win, massive upset. But let's get to the chat. Let's see what you are saying. Obviously, guys, hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new around here, and let's move that bad boy across. And don't let Best Sport Tipper ever tell you that he's a legitimate Dodgers fan. Don't let him do that. Islander, is laughter, says Java became 18th man for Australia last night too. Yeah, I did see that. I saw a couple of comments in my live chat when we were live for it. But I kind of just skipped past it because we were talking about the game. But yeah, that's quite funny. It's good to see Munster was good about it. Good to see him good about it. Dayon says Tonga will win. Well, let's see. They got a bit of a slap up last week. They got not even a little bit of a slap up. They got a real big slap up by Samoa. So they're going to have a massive turnaround game here today. Massive. Sean James, good morning, mate. Get around here. Good afternoon here from Fiji. It's 4:42 p.m. over here. But I haven't had too much sleep because I had 3 hours sleep in between the Fiji and Papua New Guinea game, and then we woke up early for the Australia versus England game to stream, and then I think I got about 2 hours after that before I woke up again. I just couldn't really sleep, so we're here again. We are firing up again. 67 Roy says, Ma'a Tonga. Well, good luck. Oh, for gosh sake, Jay's back. The same guy is back with this dribble about the Dolphins. This is Tonga. It's not Tudor fan. This guy doesn't give up. This Lee Sherwood bloke just doesn't give up about the Dolphins. I hope the Dolphins get eradicated. I hope, Lee, just for you, all other Dolphins fans that don't actually care too much. For Lee, just for you, I want the Dolphins to cease to exist. I hope they don't come last. I hope they get relegated from a non-relegated league. Just for you, Lee. But for the other Dolphins fans, I don't really care that much. GGG says, how many minutes till the game? The game starts in 20 minutes' time. So plenty of time to talk about the game. Plenty of time to get into it and give us your predictions. Micah says, in LA right now, it's going crazy. Yeah, I did. That was a crazy game, by the way, with the Dodgers and Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays. I feel for Toronto, man. That moment where I think it was Max Muncy hit the home run, or it might have been Rojas who hit the home run to tie that up, was very reminiscent of 2016 Cleveland and Chicago Cubbies, which is what I'm wearing right now. I'm wearing my Cubbies hat right now. It was very reminiscent of that, and the heartbreak that would have gone through them is exactly what Cubs fans went through in 2016. But Cubs were able to still win that World Series, whilst unfortunately the Blue Jays have not been able to do it. And it's sad because we all know the problems with MLB pay gaps at the moment. Larkin says, was going to join the Ashes stream, ended up dozing off at 1 a.m. Thankfully I did. It sounded like a shit show. What a failure the Ashes series has been. You really shouldn't be bothered streaming the third. Anyways, up the Big Foz. Look, I'm going to stream the third because I'm consistent here with this channel, and I feel like it would be unfair to not give it the opportunity that it is. It still is a game of rugby league, and considering that I focus the channel really heavily around rugby league, and I am also going to be going into the Super League next year and streaming some games, I do feel like I have to do it. I don't necessarily want to do it because, yes, the game was awful. The game was awful. Australia were dreadful. They were just absolutely dreadful, and England, they played much better than game one and still looked dreadful. And that's the problem. The problem is Australia were just horrific in that first half and still didn't go down at halftime. They were horrific and still led 4-2 up until the 37th minute, where there was a penalty that Reece Walsh, don't know what he was doing, but he had a pretty rough game. And then it was 4-4, and then Australia kind of took it away a little bit towards the early stages of the second half, getting going, and then didn't push on with it overall. But yeah, there's a lot of problems in regards to that English team. Sean Wayne shouldn't be their coach. They've got a lot of issues, and I said this on my Instagram story. If you're not following me, follow BK Sport on Instagram. But I said this on my Instagram story this morning. If this is, as a passionate rugby league fan, as a rugby league fan who watches every single game, except for the Super League, which I'm doing next year, if I am not looking forward to watching the Super League because that is meant to be a promotion and encouragement to watch the Super League and the English game, if that is what is meant to be your highlight, that's meant to be your best players, that's meant to be your promotion for the league, well, even I don't want to watch it. So if I don't want to watch it, someone who watches every rugby league game, well, then how are the casuals going to watch it? How are new fans going to come in? Because that was a diabolical style of footy from England last night. And it was the same thing from the first game, just a little bit slightly improved in regards to the physicality and the aggression, but nothing improved in regards to the attack. So why would that make me want to turn on to watch the Super League, let alone casuals to turn on the Super League? You know, and that is the biggest issue that we found with last night's game and last week's game. Foz last game in New Zealand is going to be special. Yeah, it is his last game in New Zealand because next week, regardless, if New Zealand come third, then they'll play Papua New Guinea, I think, at Combank. And if they win, then they will be playing at Samoa at Combank. I'm pretty certain both games are at Tonga. Pretty certain. Like I said, I've received some insights from Tongans that they ate way too much on their tour in Tonga last week. Wait, I received some insights from Tongans that they ate way too much on their tour in Tonga last week. Well, okay, so what you're saying is that the Tonga team went to Tonga and ate too much. Okay, I can probably vouch for that. Like, obviously I wasn't there, but I know what it's like in the islands. I know what it's like. They probably would have eaten a whole damn well lot. But then again, didn't Samoa do the same thing in Apia and in Samoa? I think they might have. It's not really an excuse. However, when you go to the islands, yes, you are going to be full to the brim. You are going to be full to the brim with food. And it's very difficult to say no. Ibrahim says, I actually slept through the game because of how boring that was. Yeah, it was really boring. Art of Liam says, happy they finally put Kenny fullback. Yeah, well, look, most of this year he's been injured and then they wanted to go with Chance fullback, but that didn't really necessarily work out, so they put him into the centres. I said this before the international series that I was hoping that was going to be the case and Keanu would go to the fullback. Wasn't the case for game one against Samoa, but is the case here. So, no, it'd be good to see. It'd be good to see. Foz and meat pie would be awesome, Jay. That'd be awesome to see. I still don't believe that game yesterday was the final. I don't know, Ibrahim. I'm just going off of what we heard in the commentary, but I don't know what to tell you. The commentary said that there was a promotion relegation game next week. That was the last game of the group stage. Fiji are done. That's what the commentary said. But we've seen no promotion of it. We've seen no discussion of it. We've seen nothing from the NRL or Rugby League to say that there is a promotion relegation game. Or is it not a promotion relegation game, and is it just a game between the top dog of the Pacific Bowl and the bottom dog of the Pacific Cup? Is that just what it is? Because why is there no promotion of it? Why is there no talking about it? Why have we not heard anything about it? And that's the first time we've heard about it through the 3 weeks of Rugby League internationals that we've been watching. that's the first we hear about it. 3 weeks in at the back end of the game, like it just doesn't make any sense. Olivia Reed, slap up Olivia Reed with the $80 redo donation. Get around here, Olivia. Thank you very much for the 80 buckaroos. It says I did not make it to 11:30. I did make it to the casino this morning though. Home now to test my new slushy machine and watch Somewhere Footy come on New Zealand. Appreciate you, Olivia, for the big old dono. What I will say is morning casino is interesting play. But then again, it's a Saturday night. It's a little Saturday night. So we're not going to hound you for getting to the casino, especially when you're winning. Because if you're donating, that means you're winning. So that's good. That's good news. But a bit of early morning casino action can get a bit grimy at those casinos. Yeah, for sure. But thank you very much, Olivia, for the dono. Michael, so you guys have a big new casino now in Brisbane, don't you? Treasury got rid of it, didn't they? And now they've got like that other casino. Is Laughter says the Tongan fullback just did a head-high shoulder charge to Katoa in the warm-up. I saw some thing about this. I saw some highlight or something about this. I thought this was just showing from something else. Yeah, fair enough. That's crazy that they're going too hard in warm-up. Is Elias Katoa still playing? Is he on a HIA for the next 15 minutes? I think Foreign will control the side today. You'd hope so, Sean. Hope so. Claps, when does the game start? Game starts in Jackson in the TV guide. The game starts in 15 minutes time, mate. 15 minutes time. 15 minutos time. Emery James says, I can't see Tonga winning by 17 points today. I can't either. I would say that they would have to be leading by a good, for me to have any confidence in them to win this game by 17 points, they'd be up by 12 after 20 minutes. If they're up by 12, if they're up by 12 at any point, then there's a bit of confidence there. But surely New Zealand don't capitulate that badly. If they lose, they lose, but surely they don't lose by 18 points or more in Auckland. Legacy says Tonga in third place is not possible. Well, it's actually quite highly possible right now, unfortunately, Legacy. Quite highly. Oh, shut up, Bestport. I did mention you before. Bestport 2.0 7.3 is now his name, apparently. Dodgers won. I go for them. Yay. I nearly want to time you out, Jesse. I nearly want to time you out. How dare you? How dare you? I nearly wore my Cubs hat here just for you as a legitimate, passionate Cubbies fan. And then you come in saying, we won with the Dodgers. You bandwagon and mother bish. I love you, but you're a bandwagon and mother bish. Olivia Reed says, I won $835 in the Genies We Trust, the Star. Yes, I was sad because the chocolate wheel wasn't open. You are speaking a foreign language to me, which is what I'm used to this year, being in Vietnam and India and Thailand. So I'm not used to having my own language spoken to me, but you are currently speaking a foreign language with chocolate wheels and Genies We Trust. It's all over the shop here. All over the shop. Emery James says Kiwis 13 plus for sure today. I've gone Kiwis 1 to 12. I do still think Tonga will give it a go. Surely they don't play as badly as they did last week because they played poorly last week. It was really disappointing. It was super disappointing from Tonga, but there is every opportunity for them to bounce back here and to try and what they have to do is they just need to take Kieran Foran out of the game, which ultimately will, he isn't exactly the fastest playing halfback, but no, Foles should have a big game here today with it potentially being his last. No, I think he'll be up for it. 2014 Dynamos is, wait, I don't get it. Is it whoever wins this game goes to the grand final? Sorry, I sound dumb. No. That's a legitimate question, man. I wish that the NRL made it more simple for people to understand this. If New Zealand win this, then they go to the final. If New Zealand lose this, but lose by 17 points or less, then New Zealand will go to the final. If New Zealand lose by 18 points or more, then Tonga will go to the final. So Tonga right now, they're for and against, they're on 34 points against and 6 points for. So they're minus 28. And the Kiwis, they're on 2 points with a 24 points for and 18 points against. So they're on plus 6. So you need to see that switch up. And if Tonga can get 18 points, then that will go to minus 10 and the Kiwis would go to minus 12. So that's the only way that Tonga can get into the final against Samoa. Anything less than that, and it will be the Kiwis. If Tonga had have only lost last week by 6, right, then there would have been every opportunity for both the Kiwis and Tonga to be tied in this game if, say, Tonga won by 6 and Kiwis at 6. It would have been so funny. It would have been so funny, especially if Samoa had have won that game by 6. They would have gone to plus 6. Tonga would have gone to minus 6, and the Kiwis would have been on plus 6. And then you would have seen, if Tonga beat the Kiwis today by 6, then it would have been 6 points differential for Samoa, 6 points differential for Kiwis, and 6 points differential for Tonga. It would have probably come down to points for that would have got them across the line, but there was a legitimate possibility. Unfortunately, that possibility did not happen because Tonga did not come to the party last week. Momo Has Chicken says, have you got a score prediction? My score prediction, I'm going to say, is New Zealand 22-18. I'm going to say it's close. I really want it to be close, to be fair. We've had some real shocking rugby league matches lately. Last night was shocking, Australia-England. Papua New Guinea-Fiji yesterday was shocking. Tonga-Samoa last week was shocking. Papua New Guinea-Cook Islands was shocking, but close. Fiji versus Cook Islands was shocking. New Zealand versus Samoa was good. New Zealand versus Samoa was probably the only good game of this international series so far. But I really want to see something happen here. Absolutely. So I'll go 22-18. I do think New Zealand should win. He could read it, but couldn't understand it. No, Olivia. No. We can't understand reading at any capacity. Legacy says, what's your favourite team? The undefeated all-time champion Gold Coast Titans. Get around it. Mama Has Chicken. I've already get the score prediction. Dynamo says, thank you for explaining it. All good. That's what we're here for. Angus Payne says, so how did you feel about when the rugby referee gave the yellow card when the All Blacks? What? How did you feel when the rugby referee gave the yellow card when the All Blacks? What did you even just say? What are the All Blacks? You've got an Irish flag there. You've got an Irish flag. You've got the All Blacks. You're talking about a yellow card and rugby referee in a rugby league stream. What's happening here? We on the same planet here, Angus? Angus, are we on the same planet here? I honestly think whoever Samoa faces, Samoa will win. Not necessarily. New Zealand beat Samoa 2 weeks ago. New Zealand did beat him a couple of weeks ago. We'll see. Angus is cooked. Angus is definitely cooked, Jay. I feel like Samoa could and probably should get over the top of them, but I want to see New Zealand's second performance here. We've seen Samoa play 2 games. It'd be unfair to judge Samoa's 2 games and compare it with New Zealand's 1 game, which was also against Samoa. If New Zealand can come out and beat Tonga by a bigger margin today, that would be 2 straight wins and would have beaten Samoa. If they can put them to bed here, it would be huge. I do think if Samoa play Tonga, you will see Samoa win, though. I think they've just got a better team at the moment. They needed that one week warm-up to start off before we saw how well they did last week. Surely Tonga don't fall apart like they did last week. Surely not. Momo says Kiwis 26-18. Yeah, realistic prediction there. Realistic prediction. Zach Hewitt, member for 33 months, get around. Yeah, since watching their last performance, they got Tonga 86-0. You got Tonga 86-0, do you, Mr. Hewitt? You got Tonga 86-0. Well, we did see Scotland. This is actually joining with Mr. Angus on his rugby union tangent here. But Scotland just beat the USA this morning like 86-0 or something like that. What was it, 82-0? It was like 82-84 or 86-0 in the rugby union this morning, which is crazy. I think Kiwis beat Tonga 23-14. Okay. Angus, do you know this is a rugby league stream? That's all I want to know. I'm just asking you. Just asking you. Angus, do you know? Because that's you've spoken about a rugby union reference before, the All Blacks, the Irish, and rugby referees' yellow cards. And now you've referred to a scoreline being pretty reminiscent of a rugby union scoreline. A rugby league scoreline would have been like 22-14, which is still interesting, but, makes sense. 23-14 is like, well, why Kiwis kicking a field goal? Why are they kicking a field goal there? Sean James says, the sack is on fire today, Lagan. It's on fire. Mr. Hughes says 37-21 is a better scoreline. That's a great scoreline, or 43-21. That's what I'm talking about. Who is the Toronto Blue Jays fan on the channel? I feel for you. There's someone who has always been getting around the Toronto Blue Jays. I really do feel for you. 86-0 is a crazy score point. Yeah, he's not being serious. I want to see Scotland rugby. I'm pretty certain they won 86-0 this morning. It was 85-0, sorry. 85-0 Scotland over USA this morning. Rugby union. I personally have Tonga winning 3-2. Yeah, I'm going to personally time you out for a minute. I'm just going to do it just because I feel like it, really, Lagan. You're regular here and you're regularly timed out, so I'm going to join the party. Targeted individual says 23-14 is not out of the question these days. Nothing's out of the question, targeted individual, but the issue is that he referred to rugby union, the previous comment, and then that scoreline makes sense for rugby union. 2 7-pointers, a try converted twice, that's 14, and 23. Like, there's definitely a way that you can get there, right? So it just is very much a rugby union scoreline there. Sean says, take out the G in his name, your answer. Take out the G? It's a good one from you, Sean. That was a good one from you. That was a good one. Mr. Hewitt says, Zach Hewitt, can't wait for the 5-0 Ashes. Sweet Pummies look horrid yesterday against New Zealand. I don't know what happened in that game. I haven't seen it, but I did see that there was major questions being asked about Joe Root. And all that. It's going to be a very interesting series. We'll be live for every single day of that Australia versus England cricket Ashes. It's going to be massive. Sia Ane says 36-30 New Zealand. That's a high-scoring game. New Zealand would put themselves in the final with that. I think that's probably a little bit too high-scoring. So we're seeing Tonga score 6 points last week against Samoa, but we're seeing them score 30 points here against New Zealand when Samoa only scored 18 points against New Zealand. It's a bit hard to see, to be fair. 36 points for New Zealand wouldn't be out of the equation, though, if Tonga plays like they did last week. And, New Zealand already beat Samoa, who were the ones to whoop them last week. So it wouldn't be out of the equation for mine to see New Zealand hit 36, but to see Tonga bounce back from a 6-pointer to getting 30-pointer would just be wild. Is it out of the equation? No, it's never out of the equation. This is international footy, and Tonga were actually the favourites going into last week's game, even though I didn't tip them. But 30-point swing is massive. Legacy, why is everyone saying Kiwis will win? Because we have our eyes, and we watched last week's Tonga game against Samoa, where they lost by 20 or 18 points. No, what did they lose by? They lost by 20. Yeah, they lost by 28 points to Samoa last week, and then the week beforehand, that Samoa team lost to this Kiwis team by 6 points. So it's just like that's why people are tipping the Kiwis, because one, the Kiwis are the more established international nation. Two, this is technically in New Zealand, but also three, they do have a better team on paper. They do. So we'll see. Target Individual says, what's your score? Kiwis are notoriously slow starters. Takes a couple of games to get there. Don't disagree. That's why I said probably for mine, 22-18. But if New Zealand play at a more superior rate than what Samoa did last week, we could see an absolute whooping here. Absolute whooping. Logan says, I don't watch too much cricket, but between Oz and England, who has the better roster on paper? Australia. We haven't lost to England in 15 years? I think the last time we lost, we haven't lost to them on a single test on Australian soil for a long time. But we haven't lost to England in the Ashes in 15 odd years. 14, 15, 16 odd years or something like that. Something ridiculous. Brent says, hey mate, hope the alarm didn't keep you up last night after that early morning dribble fest. No, it was a dribble fest, all right. Yeah, no, it was definitely a dribble fest. Dribble fest and a half. But no, the alarm only goes for maybe a minute or so before it goes off. Only goes for about a minute or so. Could you guys hear that on the headset, by the way? Could you hear it? It's not in my room. It's out in the lounge room, which is about 30 odd meters away. But could you guys hear that alarm? Because it is a rip snorter. The whole of Fiji probably would have woken up. Sean says 26 likes. It is Sunday, but like up, please. Yeah, hit that thumbs up button, guys, and subscribe if you're new around here. The game is about to get going. We do have to see the New Zealand haka. We do have to see the New Zealand haka beforehand, and then we will get into the sippy tau as well. Oh, no, so we're going to hear the sippy tau first before the New Zealand haka. Yeah, faintly. Yeah, well, it's not faintly when it's at 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning over here. Kiwis have Isaka, McLean, Willison, and more. So, yeah, Kiwis are most likely to win. That's a random couple of players to refer to there, Momo. No, I would have thought you would have been more so referring to guys like Fisher Harris, guys like Dylan Brown, guys like Joseph Tarpany, but you've gone with Casey McLean, who is good, don't get me wrong, Isaka, who is hit or miss, and Willison, who is off the bench, but a very solid player. It's just a couple of random players that you've brought in there to overall. They still haven't updated Keanu Kenny as the fullback, mind you. They've still got chances as the fullback, Keanu Kenny on the wing, and Case McLean the centres, even though the Rugby League New Zealand team on Instagram said that Case McLean is on the wing, Chance on the centre, and Keanu is actually playing fullback here today. Get around it. There is definitely more Tongans here, as we expect. There is definitely more Tongans here at Eden Park in Auckland. Target Individual says 28-18 to Kiwis. Yeah, that's a pretty reasonable scoreline. I feel like most people will tip New Zealand 13 plus here, and whilst it's not out of the equation, surely Tonga are better this week than they were last week. Just surely. Surely we see a bit of something. Just a little bit of something here, a little bit of something there, a little bit of something everywhere. Last week was so dreadful, we didn't see nothing. We saw less than nothing. We saw what we saw from Fiji last night, which was just abhorrent. That was abhorrent from Fiji yesterday. It really was. Especially if they knew, unlike us, especially if they knew that that was the final. That is crazy how bad their performance was. Elias Katoa, it must be right where with that high contact because he has a jacked up right eye right now. Apparently, he was hit high in a pre-game warm-up for Tonga, and he's got a bit of a jacked up right eye. So we'll see if he can actually last the game here because this should be physical. It should be physical. Legacy says better. What's better? Better what? So he's got the sippy towel on right now. Is that a sold out crowd? It's kind of blurry for me up there. The whole lower bowl is definitely sold out. I think the upper bowl is still decently as well. It's very difficult because for some reason in Fiji, KO does struggle. Well, the VPN does struggle a little bit, I guess, from where I am. Shanice says, up the Kiwis. Well, good luck. We're about probably 5 minutes away from it getting, or 3 minutes or so away from it getting kicked off. We're just listening to the Sippy Towel right now for Tonga, and we'll get into New Zealand Haka, and then we'll be underway. Jeez, yeah, it is messing up a little bit, but we can only do what we can do. We can only do what we can do. It is a pretty poor weather day here in Fiji too. It's pouring rain outside. Pouring rain. Logan says Lehigh really felt the Hapawade when he did that high shot in the warm-up. It's just like, how is that even happening in a warm-up? How are you having a high shot like that in the warm-up? I don't know how that's possible. Like it shouldn't be. Warm-up is just the warm-up. How is a solid high contact hit happening in a warm-up? Like what is your warm-up? So you having like full-out sessions? You having like a full-on buddy player versus player session here? 32 here at the moment. Fair enough. Thank you for letting us know. It is freezing up a little bit. Chin up, bro. Me? Whole England top order was shit. They were like 550 at one stage. Ah, yes. And then you've got Stuart Broad coming out and saying this is the worst Australian team of all time. How good. How good. All right. So the New Zealand Haka now coming up. Did you see New Zealand's coach, I think it's Stacey Jones, came out and said, like, don't boo the Haka Tongan fans? It's interesting because it's like, well, Hakas are ultimately, if you think about what they represent, telling the opposition not to kind of do anything or say anything is quite interesting of a tactic. Like, if you know what a haka represents, it is a war dance. So if you know the meaning behind it and what it represented from like historical times, it's like, well, how are you going to tell the opposition how to react to it? Oh, that was so cool from Fisher Harris just then. Imagine getting a HIA in the warm-up. I'm sure he probably did. He might be a little bit cranky. Me? Well, I'm not cranky at all. I'm good. No, it's just disrespect. And he says, well, sure, that can be your opinion. I feel like a lot of people don't have the same opinion, but that's your opinion. That's not necessarily wrong. No one's necessarily wrong in the thought process of it. But like, think about what a haka actually represents. And it's like, well, they're telling you they're about to pillage you. They're about to pillage. That's effectively kind of what's happening. So that eye roll. That's not an eye roll. It's just your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. No, the head high. Ah, the head high. Yeah, valid enough. All right, so New Zealand here with their haka. Like, the thing is that I would never do it because I'm not a part of the cultures. Yeah, I'm not from New Zealand. I'm also not from Samoa or Tonga. So again, your opinion is completely your opinion, and other people are allowed to say what they want to say from their own cultures and more so involved in it. But just from an outsider's perspective and knowing what hakas and what not represent in historical times, it really is confusing to me how it can be disrespectful for an opposition who are involved with it, who know what a haka is, to be told that you can't react to it. It's just quite interesting to me. Clubs thought the game started. Well, you thought wrong. The game is about to start any moment now because New Zealand have just done their haka and we're about to get underway. Called a war dance, not a respect dance, Brent says. It is. The stadium is all red. Yeah, you do see this usually in New Zealand. You will always see Tonga. It's really actually quite strange that New Zealand don't get strong enough home crowd because New Zealand, it's not like they win everything. Australia win everything, so you can understand why a lot of Australians don't turn up for it. And a lot of Australians, most Australians, I would argue, that I know, actually get around teams that aren't Australia. Like, I saw someone today saying their favourite team was Papua New Guinea, and they're Australian. I know someone who is a Lebanese Australian who supports New Zealand. And it's like, it defeats the purpose of it for me. I feel like you have to support the country you're from. Like, if you're Lebanese Australian and you want to associate with Lebanon, then feel free. Like, feel free, Lebanon. Why would you become a New Zealand fan? You know, that just doesn't make any sense. I don't comprehend how that one works out. I'm going to refresh this score here on the screen so that when the game is underway, it is live for you and you can see the live score. It should happen any moment now. What's the whistle? The whistle sounds like it's dying right now. Viva la Jamaica. Exactly right. Get around Jamaica. So New Zealand will be kicking this ball off here to Tonga. Looks like a beautiful day in Auckland. Beautiful day. Look at the Red Sea, dude. My goodness. Sean says, the water ants, it makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up staunch. That's good. Oh, okay. So there's... Oh! That was a whack from Lee Harper-White on Elliot Sakatoa. Yeah, that warm-up, he had to have gone for a HIA. That warm-up hit was like direct shoulder to the head of... Like, what was Lee Harper-White doing? That's crazy. So Elliot Sakatoa, he's fine. He's out in the field, but like that's a huge hit. That is a huge hit. But alrighty, here we go. So it is going to be New Zealand who kick it off to Tonga. And they're at the 5, and they're going to bring it out now to the 12 on first tackle. Let's see if I can get this not blurry. That'd be a great little start here. And let me just make sure this live screen, yeah, it is live on the screen, so you get the live screen underneath us. All right, third tackle, Lehigh is proper dope. I just don't understand how that happens in a warm-up, dude. That was a heavy hit. Like you saw, that was heavy. If that happens in a game, it probably doesn't come back. North versus picking Tonga, but they won't win by enough, so New Zealand versus Samoa in the final. I'm still tipping New Zealand 1-12, but I would love to see Tonga go up by 12 and make this game interesting. And then it would be, or even if they went up by like 16/18 with a few moments to go, and then we have to see if it would come down to who scores next kind of deal. That'd be cool. I don't think Tonga win by enough as well. I agree with you, but I do think New Zealand on paper should get the job done here. Second tackle now for New Zealand at the 24, especially in Kieran Foran's last ever game in New Zealand as well. So Charles Neil-Klukstad, now it's Isaiah Papali'i, third tackle, and they're going to be at the 35 on third tackle. See if Case McLean can have another huge game that he had a couple of weeks ago. That was an amazing try that he scored, a really strong try that he scored against the Samoans, and he scored a double in that game. So let's see if he can do it again here today, even though he's on the wing. Great offload. Now Keanu Kenny's going to get the ball to the 50 on fifth tackle. Fifth tackle for the Kiwis. Great offload there, and the crowd is very much behind this Tongan team. You can't even say this is a New Zealand home game. You really can't. This is ultimately a Tongan home game. It really is. How much does Tonga have to win by? They have to win by 18 points, Mickey Balloons. 18 points. If they do not, then they will be playing Papua New Guinea next week. That would be... I personally would prefer to see... I just don't think there's actually a losing battle there, because Tonga versus Papua New Guinea will be way more interesting than New Zealand versus Papua New Guinea. But Samoa versus Tonga is also too much to pass up of an opportunity for if that was to happen again. And I do feel like Tonga surely would be a little bit better than they were last week. And we do see a lot of the time when teams have that ability to kind of exact revenge on them. We've seen that with Papua New Guinea against Fiji a couple of years ago. In the final, we saw that with New Zealand against Australia a couple of years ago in that famous final. It does happen where the revenge does come. So New Zealand now, it's going to be first tackle, Case McLean. They'll get this ball out to about the 30. Kiwis getting tackled a lot. Okay, Legacy. Do you realise what sport we're watching? Rugby league? Yeah, no? You are going to see plenty of tackles in the game, mate. That is the sport that we are watching. Definitely not a surprise that we're seeing a team get tackled a lot. Third tackle now for Kiwis. Now fourth tackle, Mosley Oda will be at the 40. Mickey Balloon says Auckland is the capital of Tonga. Pretty much. And the Gold Coast is just West Auckland. Left-hand side, they give it off to Charles Neil-Klukstad, who's playing that left centre position. It'll be fifth tackle now, 28 metres out from the line. It is nice to see it. It's a beautiful day there. Go out to the right, and Dylan Brown is just going to put that ball up. Pretty simple one. They're going to let this ball bounce. I don't think that's played at. Oh, they're going to say it's played at. They're going to say, well, Elias Sakatoa, is he okay? Because that didn't look normal, and now it's 6 again for New Zealand, 20 metres out. I don't know if I would say that was played at, but Elias Sakatoa, is he okay? Considering his early HIA, that was really poor stuff. So first tackle now for New Zealand, and they're going to be 5 metres out from the line. They go out to the left, off to Fisher Harris. Fisher Harris now. Kieran Foran. Here's a chance for New Zealand. It's 1-on-1 out the wing. Case McLean. Oh, it's good defense. That is really good defense from Tonga. They take him over the sideline, and Tonga will get the ball here at the 10. Will get the ball here at the 10. Great defense there from, I think it was Sione Katoa and a bit of Lehigh wide action. Case McLean's usually so strong, but he does get taken over the sideline. And now Tonga first tackle, 10 metres out. And Jason Tamalolo is going to bring this ball out here to the 15. Mitchell, that's why that happened just then. The other team does pass the ball a lot, Jay. Yeah, there is a lot of ball passing. There's some ball kicking. And the tackles do happen. Tackles do happen. And usually after a tackle, they'll roll the ball underneath their foot, if you didn't know. Yeah. England didn't do too much of that yesterday, though. Didn't get pinged for, rolling the ball correctly yesterday too much. But, it is what it is. So Tonga now get the offload away at the 30. It's 4 tackle. It's Katoa looking for something. He's just going to run the ball into the line at 33. Really dysfunctional set here from Tonga at the moment. Really dysfunctional set. And now they're just going to kick this one down to about the 30. It doesn't do anything. Really poor kick there. And an easy run back here for New Zealand. They'll get this ball out here to about the 40. I need to see a penalty or something so that I can refresh this KO because it is completely blurry for me as we currently speak. And I'm having to educated guess the players that have got the ball. Case McLean now, he'll be at the 42 on third tackle. Also notice lots of running sometimes. Yeah, sometimes you will see a bit of running here. Now they go to the right. I think it's Crossland and Keanu Kenny. He's 35 metres away, fourth tackle. Keanu can break a game apart. He can do it out of the right-hand side. New Zealand taking down to the 20. They're doing all the attacking right now. They go quickly down short side. There's nothing on here. And it's going to be fit tackle by taking on 10. That wasn't the play. That was definitely not the play from Phoenix Crossland, which is Seb Watson's favourite player. Very much his favourite player. Rodder says, oh my gosh, have they finished scaring each other with the haka? They have finished scaring each other with the haka, Roger. Yeah, the haka has been finished, and we are 6 minutes into the game here. So also, yes, that is incorrect and scaring. I had to change your words. So second tackle to 15, and strong run here from the Tongans. Penasini, wow, to the 30. And Tonga getting a bit of a move on here on this set. They're getting a bit of a move on this set. They're away here. Oh, they'll be taken down. Sione Katoa at the 50. Great run, though. Very good run. Oh, nearly lost that ball there. 6 again for Tonga. 6 again. Okay, that's massive. They might get one. On fourth or fifth tackle here, they might get an attacking opportunity. They're at the 45 on first tackle. But here we go. Their first moment of the game. Second tackle at the 40. Tonga on the move. You're seeing the forwards really get into this. Again, I would love to see Tonga score the first couple of tries in this game just to make it interesting for the to see who gets into the final. Third tackle at the 30. Yeah, we'll be pretty much on fifth. They'll get this slight chance of a... Yeah, because they're fourth tackle now on 30. They go to the left, Saliva Havili. And short ball into the line, forward pass. That's ridiculous. So just as you're about to get an attacking kick, you throw the ball forward. That is ridiculous. And New Zealand will get the ball here at the 20. And that's very much how it was last week for Tonga. How was that played? Oh, you're talking about Elias Katoa. Yeah, I didn't understand how that was played. But again, I'm kind of watching on a bit of a blurry shot right now. I'm going to try and go from live again. Jump out while there's the switch up in play. Harry Grant passed that one. Harry Grant last night. The amount of forward passes was crazy. All right, it's a bit less blurry now. Matty Tomoko, he's going to bring this ball out here to the 35 on second tackle. Dave says, is there no final bowl, man? Your question is the problem with the NRL and Rugby League right now because we only found out the answer to this yesterday. The team that comes out the worst of this game will play Papua New Guinea next week in the promotion relegation game. There is no more Pacific Bowl games after this. No Pacific Bowl games after this. It'll just be Papua New Guinea playing either New Zealand or Tonga based off of the result of this game. But don't worry. Don't feel stupid for not knowing that because most people didn't. Keanu Kenny. Oh, Keanu Kenny breaks through. Gets the offload away there. 33 metres out here from the line. Oh, but geez, this is all over the shop now. This is absolutely all over the shop. And it's going to be fit tackle for New Zealand. They're 25 metres out. So yeah, don't feel silly for not knowing that because most people didn't know that until yesterday's commentary. Fit tackle. They get the offload away. Keanu Kenny. Casey McLean. They pass it at the back. Dylan Brown puts his ball across. Daniel Tupou's side, though. He should win this battle, and he does win that battle. Every time you're going to kick it to Daniel Tupou's side, and he's going up against Sione Katoa. Tupou is much taller than Sione Katoa. Daniel Tupou should win that battle every day, every time in this game. And penalty to Tonga. That's huge. Heavy start here. 10 minutes in, 30 minutes to go the first half, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe. It is currently still 0-0, but Tonga, I'm surprised New Zealand kicked that ball out to the right there with Sione Katoa and Daniel Tupou. Sione Katoa is not beating Tupou in the air today. He's just not beating Tonga in the air today. He's not beating Tupou. So what have they called here for the penalty? Anyway, we are going to see Elliot Katoa come off the field. I genuinely believe it was a penalty for a dangerous tackle. I believe that he was concussed in the warm-up, and I don't know if he should have been on there. He's coming off for a HIA again. I don't know if he'll come back. It is from another hit to the head, and I can understand it. He's had a rough day today. I believe that he might have still been concussed from the pre-game warm-up too, because it was a heavy hit, and when we saw that played at ball, he didn't know kind of where he was, so I do worry for him. God bless him. Don't kick to the Tongan stalk. You got no chance. You got no chance against the old Tube, son. Got no chance. Oh, he's lost that. Oh, penalty. Wow, penalty Tonga. Surprising. I thought he just lost that. But if it was obvious, they would have challenged it. And they're not going to challenge it. So they're going to allow it. So Tonga will get the penalty at the 45. They're probably a little bit on the up here. They're probably... This game is looking very similar to how New Zealand played Samoa in the first one, just not being able to put it to bed. I think that's actually sloppy from Tamalolo. I don't think that should have been a... Oh, wait, they said that's a knock-on. Oh, okay, that's the correct call then. I thought he was calling it as a penalty, actually, Klein, but no, I think he's called it as a knock-on. New Zealand have the ball. No, correct call. Correct call. I originally thought he called it as a penalty. So first tackle now for New Zealand, and they're going to be at the 30. Charles Nickel-Klokstad. Back to Dylan Brown, then to Isaiah Papali'i. And Isaiah Papali'i is going to be second tackle, 20 metres away here from the line. Phoenix Crossland, need to see a big game out of him, man. James Fisher-Harris with a really strong run, 13 metres out, third tackle. 11 minutes in, Crossland out to Tarpany. Tarpany gets the off the way to Crossland. Crossland nearly drops it, but he gets the ball at the back to Dylan Brown. They're back at the 20, gives it off to Charles Klokstad, and Klokstad is going to be 5 metres out, 4 tackle. It's not too bad attack here from New Zealand right now, but Tonga's defense is actually up in a line. You just saw that. They all came off the line at the same time, and that's what you want to see. And that was worrying them defensively. Paul Alamonte coming in, but, Alamonte is going to throw him over the sideline. No, they throw the ball back on in, and that's going to be Tongan ball. Good defense, good shape, good line defensively. The only issue is that Alamonte thought whether to come out and kind of jumped out of his line by about a metre or two, and then does come back into it, scrambles across quickly, and then New Zealand... Matty Tomoko got a little bit selfish there and went for it himself. He does go close to the sideline, throws it back in, and then New Zealand grab the ball and are over the sideline. So good defense from Tonga overall. Clippy Wooden says the shade over the field is horrible from a viewer perspective. It is difficult, especially when I'm watching with a little bit of blur too, considering I have to watch it on VPN. Can't deal bags and noodle head. You even call him noodle head after everything Seb Watson says. He's going to win the Melbourne Cup. I haven't even looked at the Melbourne Cup just yet, man. I haven't even looked at it. I do know there's a massive potential of a winner, though, when someone put a whole bunch of sport bets on and they have Buckaroo to finish like top 3 or something like that. I think that could be the one anyway. Out of the left, Tonga. Out of the left, knock on. Good pressure from the Kiwis. And Jermaine Sarko is going to bring this ball out of the 22 with 0 tackle. Really good pressure there from Jermaine Sarko and the Kiwis. And now Moses Leota is going to run this ball sideways to the 20. And then go forward to the 15, first tackle. Tonga paying $3, great odds. Great odds, but they haven't really done anything so far. They've held their own defensively, but they need to be the ones attacking. Again, they need to win this game by 18 points, otherwise they're playing Papua New Guinea next week. Yeah, this is a very speedy game comparatively to what we've seen, especially last night with Australia-England. Crossland, short ball on the line as a lost ball. That is a knock-on against New Zealand. Tonga holding their own. They are holding their own. This is very reminiscent to how New Zealand versus Samoa went a couple of weeks ago. Very reminiscent. So knock on there. And Crossland, caught in a lot of space there. Short ball into Tarpany, and then Tarpany just drops the ball. And Tonga hold out again. They hold out again. They haven't had an attacking opportunity yet, Tonga. New Zealand have had 3-4. New Zealand have had 3 or 4. Pixelated PKR. I'm pixelated, am I? Am I a little bit pixelated? All right, so Tonga now. Well, I am on the VPN. Laurie says, hi Blaze, let's go Tonga. Looks like we were watching it Wreck-It Ralph. Well, I think it'll fix at some point. Yeah, hopefully it fixes at some point. So Alamotti rolls it back to Saliba Havili. And now Adam Fanua Blake, he'll get this ball here to the 33 on third tackle. Hit refresh. Yeah, and penalty. Penalty to Tonga. Penalty to Tonga. That is massive because now they're going to put themselves probably around the 50 to the attack and 40, and this will be their first attack instead of the game. If I am pixelated or blurry, guys, probably just try and refresh your screen. But again, it's probably me with my VPN. Because that's the only way I can watch it, because for some reason, watchnrl.com doesn't work over here. I don't know why it doesn't. I was able to watch the first NRL games, the first week of NRL's games before I went to India over here in Fiji. For some reason, it's not letting me watch it. So I have to use a VPN to go onto KO. All right, so now it's Siwa Wong for Tonga there, 35 metres out from the line. Sometimes it's a DMT visual experience from where you are. Yeah, I think next week we're going to move this computer into a different room for a better internet experience. Second tackle here for Tonga. DMT experience. So give it to Fanua Blake, Saikatoa underneath now, and they're going to be 20 metres out. Jeez, tough run there. Tonga now 18 metres away. They haven't had an attacking set yet, and that's going to be a knock-on. Is it knocked back? No, it is going to be a knock-on. Just when you're building up, they drop the ball, Tonga. Just when it looks like they might be getting on top of the game. Defensively, they've been so solid, but attacking-wise, New Zealand's defensive pressure has been really immense, though. I would make an argument, if they had a challenge that, they could have won it, because I do think that Mikey Fotuaika does bobble it, and then is turning around and hits it backwards. But it just comes down to if it hit a New Zealand shoulder. Regardless, it is New Zealand ball at the 15. So Crossland goes out to the right, and now the New Zealanders. Let's see if Tonga can keep him down here. Completion rate so far is horrific from both teams. Tonga is at 55%. New Zealand's at 63%. That is dribble. That is dribble. What did Reese Peasy do last night? He did absolutely nothing except for get sin binned, Olivia. He did absolutely nothing. And it was a legitimate sin bin too. And an NRL stream from the beach sounds great. Does sound great, but it is raining right now. Yes. It's raining. Good offload there for Kiwis. They get the offload away again. Kieran Foran gets it across. Brett Nakora. Brett Nakora gives it out to Matty Tomoko. Tomoko to Jermaine Sarko. Sarko steps back on the inside. It's the 50, the 40, the 45, the 30. Kieran Foran forward pass. Oh my gosh. Foz was about to score. Oh my gosh. Kieran Foran was about to score in his final game on New Zealand turf, and it's a forward pass. Oh, dude. I'm spewing. That would have been so awesome to see. They were lining up. That was a try gone begging for Keanu Kinney, Kieran Foran. Oh, my. I think that's kind of lion ball, to be fair. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. That is a forward pass. That's a good call there from the touching the ref. That's a good call from Klein for once in his life. Olivia says Munster hogged the ball. Munster didn't get the ball to Reece too much, but you also saw Harry Grant didn't get the ball to Nathan Cleary too much. It seems like Australia, there's a lot of internal politics happening in that team. It really does. Yeah, they're still winning, but it seems like there's a lot of internal politics. So out to the right, Saliva Havili, they're going to be at the 45. That was a try gone begging for New Zealand. And they score just 6 points, then it's Tonga needing to win by 24 to get into the final. They go out, and Finifuiaki is going to be at the 35 on third tackle. Attacking said here, just hold on to the ball. You've had a completion rate of 55%. Just hold on to the ball, Tonga. 4 tackle now, 30 metres out from the line. It would have been good for Foz. It would have been awesome. That would have been awesome to see with Foz. Saliva Havili at the Saikatoa. Now it's going to be Isaiah Yongi, 25 metres away, fit tackle. Okay, just get a kick away. And we've seen a completed set from Tonga. That's amazing. It's amazing. Chase through, chase through, chase through, chase through. Knocked back, knocked around. New Zealand ball at the 5. I don't think that's going to be 0 tackle. I think it's going to be first tackle New Zealand 4 metres out. Get in, old boy. That's what we wanted to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what Foz can do with Manly. He's going to be their assistant coach next year. We were hoping that he was going to be our assistant coach, but family reasons, he has gone back to... Oh, they're away here. New Zealand, Case McLean. Oh, they got numbers galore. Got numbers galore. Got numbers galore. Keanu Kinney on the inside. Keanu Kinney on the inside. That's a Gold Coast Titans for you. Get that right up your schnauzer, son. Keanu Kinney with the slap up under the post. And it is the Gold Coast Titans 4, Tonga 0. That's Keanu Kinney. Get that right up and in ya. Keanu Kinney is the greatest player of all time. I'm just going to message the Titans group chat here. Keanu might possibly be the greatest player of all time. That looked really lazy. That looked really lazy from Tonga there. They don't have the speed. Actually, I'm not even going to say lazy. They don't have the speed. Daniel Tupou there, no speed. Their fullback Leo Hapawada didn't have anywhere close enough speed there. Isaiah Katoa couldn't get back. He didn't have a speed. That whole side is not speedy. Case McLean had speed. Keanu Kenny was following up nicely, and New Zealand was scoring to the post. And Officer Kenny's a gun. Mate, he's the greatest player full time. Ian McLean showing. Yeah, poor Foz, but poor Foz. Well, a Titan should have had 2 tries already. We should have seen 2 tries. Should have seen one for Keanu Kenny. We did see one for Keanu Kenny. We should have seen another one for Kieran Foran. Yeah, Tonga's gone, Steve. I don't think they can score 24 unanswered points and win 24-6. And they just don't have the speed. They had chances in this game so far in this first 20 minutes. First, guys, 20 minutes gone. 20 minutes ago, the first half. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Be live for both games next week. Don't forget to go check out BKRtravel. We've got some Indian videos starting up from tomorrow. But, look, I think that Tonga had plenty of chance to get a move on into this game. They had the momentum. And then they just kept dropping the ball in critical times. 6-0 New Zealand. They get the kick from right in front. Legacy said that was lucky. Unfortunately, from what you're probably going to see the rest of this game, it probably wasn't lucky, dude. It was very much what we saw last week. And defensively, Tonga have been all over the shop. And you can see they didn't have much speed out there at all. Keanu Kenny had way too much speed for him. You know, Dylan Brown was even following up, and he's got a bit of speed for a 5'8". You saw Case McLean absolutely gap him, and Case McLean's a very good centre who the Panthers have locked down on. So, I don't know, man. Tonga really lackluster defensively from far in that situation. And once there's a line break, they don't have the speed. Ibrahim says it would have been Gold Coast Titans 12-0 if there was no forward pass. This is what we're saying, Ibrahim. This is what we're trying to get people to click on. They haven't clicked on yet. If you haven't clicked on yet, guys, the Gold Coast Titans are clearly winning the 2026 NRL Premiership. And if you don't believe it, that's on you. That's not on me. It's on you. It's on you. The Titans have never lost a game in history, and it doesn't look like they're going to lose a game ever in the future either, based off what we're seeing here. Like, it's just an absolute masterclass. Absolute damn well masterclass from the Gold Coast Titans right now. You know, they're always so solid and consistent. Second tackle now for New Zealand. They're going to get this ball to, I think, about the 25. I'm going to restart my my NRL stream here because it is going a little bit wonky. Right now. Not looking fantastic. Novice is lucky. Yeah, some people can't accept what they're seeing in front of them, and that was a very nice try there from New Zealand. 3 premierships in the next 4 years, Jay says. Well, I'm thinking 3 premierships in the next year. I'm thinking 3 premierships in the next year, Jay. You've got to start becoming more of a thinker. You got to start being a knower. Oh, hold on a second. They're going to check for a no try here. Sorry, I was refreshing the stream. Ashley Klein is checking the bunker for a no try against New Zealand. So it's going to be Chance. It's going to go up this against Leo Hapawada. That's going to be a knock-on from New Zealand. This will be a knock-on here from Chance. Chance does touch this. Jay, you got to start really using the entire capacity of the brain, my friend, because it's very clear that Titans are going to win everything they can next year and forevermore. Olivia says, Adam said yesterday we're going back-to-back. Yeah, but Adam Reynolds has no clue because he's not a part of the Gold Coast Titans. So no try. Chance from clock will knock it on. Tonga have to complete sets if they want to win. They're barely over 50% completions. They were 55% before their last set. Let's go have a look at what they are currently at now. They actually have more possession, mind you. They're at 63% currently. I don't believe that. I think NRL.com's wrong. And that's the thing. Well, maybe NRL.com's right and the broadcast is wrong. We do see this quite a lot where the broadcast and the website itself are all over the shop because it's currently got New Zealand at 55% at 5 from 9. I don't believe that. Has there been 55% completion rate for New Zealand? No way. No chance. I think NRL.com is all over the shop. There's no way that Tonga has a 63% completion rate and New Zealand has a 55% completion rate. I do not believe it. I think they're wrong. All right, so it's going to be third tackle here for Tonga. Stafford Toa would have scored 4 tries himself by now if he was playing. Well, no, actually, because Keanu Kenny's the greatest player of all time. So it would have been Keanu scoring on Stafford probably about 5 times. I'd better put on my corporate suit and tie. You may as well. Fifth tackle now for Tonga at the 33. This is very much going a similar path to how Tonga Samoa went last week, as we currently speak. Because Tonga just do not look like this international season they're up for it. Penalty New Zealand at the 35. So Elias Katoa will come back, by the way. He's on the sideline. Problem for Tonga is they know what the equation to make finals is. Yeah, but that's a positive or a negative. I think that it's a problem in this instance because 18 points against New Zealand is ridiculous. But if it was 6 points, I think you would have nearly preferred to know that, to only know that you only need to win by 6. That would have been a difference. 18 points, yeah, you're forcing yourself to have to chance the arm and throw the attack around. But then again, defensively, they were very good. But at the middle of the field, they got broken and they don't have the speed to chase down those New Zealanders on the left-hand side. At least Katoa passes HIA. So because of the severity of the score, sure, I agree with you. But if it wasn't so severe, you wouldn't mind knowing if it was only 6 or even 10. But 3 convert tries, now 4 convert tries, it's just too much. So, Mati Tomoko. And New Zealand have a point to prove after getting knocked out like last year by Tonga, 25-24. Tonga did beat 25-24 and went to the final against Australia when New Zealand had to play Papua New Guinea. So that is a key telling point here as well. Thomas says the quality of this game compared to Oz versus England is telling. Yep, absolutely. And I said last night, if Australia had played that way in the first half against New Zealand, they would have lost that first half 30-0. So four tackle here for New Zealand, and they're 13 metres away from the Tongan line. Dylan Brown to Crossland. Crossland goes out to Joe Tarpany, and Joe Tarpany will straighten it up, and he'll get to the 10. He'll get the offload away to Crossland. Crossland quickly to Foreign. The way New Zealand are playing, though, is very speedy. You love to see that. And now Fisher Harris is going to be 5 metres out, fit tackle. Crossland, he'll go out to the right. And I'm going to refresh that. Foreign. No, I'm going to have to watch this Fisher Harris tackle again. And Fisher Harris, 5 metres out, now fit tackle. And then they're going to go to the right. Crossland passes over to Kieran Foreign. Foreign here at the 10. Then off to Counter Kenny. Counter Kenny over the top. Oh, nearly an intercept by Daniel Tupou. But unfortunately, he won't be able to bring it in. And it's going to be a fresh set of 6 for New Zealand, 10 metres out from the line. Yeah, should have probably backed himself, Kenny. I agree with you, Brenton. Probably had it there. First tackle for New Zealand. This is so much pressure that Tonga are under. So much pressure. 5 metres out. Crossland goes out. Isaiah Papali'i. And Papali'i is now 8 metres away from the line. Second tackle, now 5 metres away. Geez, Tonga need an absolute miracle at the moment. They're getting just dominated pressure-wise. Dylan Brown too easy, and that's it. All right, New Zealand are going to be playing Samoa next week in the Pacific Cup final, and Tonga will be playing Papua New Guinea in the promotion relegation game. It is 10-0 New Zealand with a kick to come. Dylan Brown scores. And this is a very clean performance from New Zealand. Very clean performance from them at the moment. Their pressure defensively has been astounding. Their pressure offensively has been astounding. They have been really strong here, which is what they did against Samoa, but they weren't able to score as easily. Tonga's defense this year has been a schmozzle. A schmozzle. Dillbags needs to grow a mullet. Get him in. Get the mullet going. Get the mullet going. Dasmode will be proud. He'll be proud. Nate says the 12 milli man. Yeah, 13, Nate. Yeah, exactly. The 13 milli man is a great 5'8". He's a great 5'8", Newcastle. Please don't put him in your halfback. It's all I'm asking. Am I asking too much? Am I asking for too much here? Am I asking for too much saying that a halfback should be playing as a halfback? Because I don't know. Seems like Newcastle want to go and play a 5'8" in the halfback role. And I guarantee you by the end of the year, they're going to change it up again. Tonga better watch out for Papua New Guinea. Honestly, with the way Tonga are playing, I don't think Papua New Guinea win. But I do think they can make it close because Tonga do not look like they are up for this international season at all. There is nothing that I have seen as a positive from Tonga across these 2 games so far that leads me to believe that the intention is there. A question as I can't see, is Foz running things behind the plate? Foz is doing well. Foz is doing fine. Dylan Brown's doing great. Their halves are doing well here today, Kiwis. 13 milli, silly man. Very silly milli, 13 milli, silly. Very silly 13 milli. That's what it should be. Very silly 13 milli if he's a halfback. Fletch Sharp will win the 7 in the third round, I reckon. Yeah, but the problem here is, Brenton, what do you think it is? We're talking about the third round. We're talking about the third round. We are talking currently, not about round 1, not about pre-season. We're not talking about round 2. You're talking to me about changing your halves 3 rounds in. And that, my friends, is the Newcastle Knights. It's the Newcastle Knights for you. 22 missed tackles for Tonga, 6 missed tackles for Kiwis. What the fuck is that? Reese Gibber says, is it New Zealand versus New Zealand or Samoa versus Samoa? What? What are you saying? Third tackle now for New Zealand. And they get this ball. Oh, I get what you're saying now. I get you. I would say it is... it's probably... You argue New Zealand versus New Zealand. Fifth tackle now for the Kiwis, and they're going to get to 50. Sean says, old school head with good cuddle. Mitchell says, imagine playing a 5'8" halfback. I just could never imagine that. Mitchell, don't you start me on Jerome Luai. Don't you start me. Jerome Luai is also not a halfback. Hey, please, Newcastle Knights organisation, can you see with Jerome Luai is not a halfback? But then again, some will show maybe otherwise, but not at the Tigers. He doesn't show otherwise. But I'm pretty certain the Tigers are going to bite the bullet and put Luai into the 6 and maybe luck to find him into the 7, no? JT was never 5'8". Brenton, are we trying to slip in a Jonathan Thurston comparison with Dylan Brown? Is that what we're doing right now? Is this what we're doing? Siwa Wong gets that ball offload. Now Lee Habuade is going to bring it out to the 40, 37. Now fifth tackle. This Tongan team... Oh, for gosh sake, what's happened here? Oh, I just realised. I thought the power went out. I thought the power went out, lads. I nearly had a heart attack because it would have been 5-10 minutes before I would have been able to go back on stream. No, I just didn't have my light on charge. I did not have my light on charge, and now it's back on. All right, so it's second tackle here at the 15 for the Kiwis. Lucky I didn't swear, lads, because sometimes when the power goes out and this computer turns off and it takes 5-10 minutes for the internet to get going again, sometimes I'll swear. So I'm glad I didn't swear. Let's see if they can score. So it has to be 30 to 12 Tonga full time. Yes, Leon, it has to be 30 to 12 Tonga full time if Tonga want to get into the final. Got to charge the OnlyFans light. Britain Nakora right inside their away here. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be needing to be more than 30 to 12 right now. They go down to the right. Oh, they're still going. They're taking down to the 13. They're still going. Jermaine Sark, who hasn't been tackled yet, he is now tackled. 10 metres out, fifth tackle. You're probably going to get conceding a try here, Tonga. Foreign out to Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown kicks that ball across. And McLean, try time. And it is now 16 with a kick to come. This is not your year, Tonga. This is not your year, Tonga. But also, I think next week could be a banger between New Zealand and Samoa. But New Zealand are flying in this game. They are absolutely flying in this game. 16-0 with a kick to come. This is not Tonga's year, man. And honestly, if this keeps blowing out, Papua New Guinea will fancy giving it a crack. They'll fancy it. Then I don't think Papua New Guinea will win. There's still a lot of quality that is lacking there, but Papua New Guinea will fancy themselves giving this a crack if this is the way Tonga play. Legacy says, no, he got tackled before he put it to the ground. Bro, do you know the rules of Rugby League, Legacy? Have you ever read the rules of the old Rugby League? Would you like us to read you the rules? Steve says, Tonga are rubbish. They will be just another number in next year's World Cup. Well, who improves them for next year? Because right now their halves are doing nothing. They've got no 9. Who's not playing for Tonga this year? I guess they hope that David Fafita can play for them next year. By the way, 10 minutes to go the first half, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe. And if you like travel content, please go subscribe to BKRtravel in the pinned comment in the chat. Who's their team next year? Isai Katoa will be their halfback. I would assume Yongi is going to be their 5'8". Kafusi's on the outer. Tamalolo's on the outer. Finafuiaki's not good enough. Elias Katoa's great. Moeki Fodawaker is out of form. Adam Fanor-Blake is great. Siliva Havili is not great. Sione Katoa is great. Will Penasini is hit and miss. Paul Alamotti is great. Daniel Tupou is great. Hopawade is hit or miss, but young. this Tonga team, I'm surprised they didn't play like a Halasima today. Not that I think that he goes and wins the game for them, but I just think that when you're going into the future, you're looking to the future of this Tonga team. New Zealand, great kick from Jermaine Sarko, makes it 18-0. So now Tonga would have to win 36-18. So to not play like a Halasima is just odd to me. Like, you've got Kafusi on the bench. What's the point of having Felice Kafusi on the bench when you can have a young up-and-comer like Halasima there? It's Christian Wolf who's the coach, no? Is Christian Wolf still the coach for Tonga? Brenton says, J crime. Sean says, if Australia helps PNG like they should, I think it's going to be a surprise, Mata Bish. And maybe. Oh, next Sunday is going to be a huge day, actually, because that final, though both those finals will be on Sunday, we'll pretty much just, because we'll have the Australia-England game. I'm not even going to sleep. I'm going to sleep early on Saturday because there's not going to be a game on Saturday. I'm going to sleep early on Saturday and then just go Australia-England and stay awake until the two big games. Sean says, that's right. Deary me, Tonga. Saul says they're missing Kohler. Yeah, they are missing. Yeah, they're missing Kohler, but how much does that really change what we're watching? Same thing goes to guys like Leka Halasima and whatnot. But, lads, 28 missed tackles with 9.5 minutes to go the first half is diabolical stuff. But that's diabolical. An average amount of missed tackles in a half is 15 to 17. They're at 28 with 9.5 minutes to go in the first half. It's outrageous. It's outrageous stuff. It is outrageous stuff from Tonga. 28 missed tackles with 9 minutes to go of the first half. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And now, mind you, it's a penalty here to the Kiwis. It's a penalty now to the Kiwis. They're going to get done by 50 at this rate. They get done by 50. So it was actually penalty for offside. So what am I calling here? Sorry, it's freezing up for me. Clock has stopped. Yeah, okay, let me just refresh it. Let me refresh the scoreline over here. If it comes up. There we go. Okay, the scoreline's going again. Okay, so it was offside against Tonga. So, New Zealand 20 metres out from the line with another chance to score and to really put the boot into the Tongans. New Zealand 15 metres out from the line with Britton Nakora. Nakora rolls it back to Phoenix Crossland. Crossland's going to go out to Aaron Clark, where it is going to freeze on me, which is just not fun to watch. This is brutal to stream this. Absolutely brutal. Now they go to Aaron Clark, and Aaron Clark is going to be 3 metres away from the line. Second tackle. Steve said, I don't think Tonga at the moment would beat England in England's shithouse. Well, England beat Tonga both times, or 3 times 2 years ago. And England beat Samoa both times last year, so that should tell you a story. Third tackle here, 2 metres away. Crossland. He'll go short ball in the line. Britton Nakora. Nakora gets the offload away. This should be a try. Oh, no, they've knocked it on. They've knocked it on. Now Tonga will get the ball at the 8. Just over 1 minute, they miss a tackle. Yeah, no, it's horrific stuff. And it will be a penalty here to the Tongans. So that'll at least help them a little bit. I want to go back and have a look at these defensive stats again. We'll go to break here in the penalty. 60-40 possession-wise, mind you. And that's with a 70% completion rate for New Zealand. Oh, my gosh. The NRL.com has them at 24 missed tackles. On the broadcast, it has them at 28 missed tackles. Ineffective tackles is 17. Oh, they're not even at 80%. Oh, my God. It's going to be a penalty to Tonga, luckily enough. Otherwise, that was nearly going to be a schmozzle again. Legacy says Tonga beating England. Do you just like being punching back? Do you realize the Tonga lost to England 2 years ago? 3 times? Was it twice or 3 times? There was either only 2 games or only 3 games, and England won all 3 of them or both of them. Love the hymns by the crowd. Yeah, well, look, when it comes to Tonga and Samoa, regardless of what happens, it's always a great atmosphere. And you can still hear a great atmosphere at the stadium, despite the fact that we know what the result is, and we know who's playing the final next week, and it's not going to include Tonga. So out to Dimitri Vay-Mulga. And Vay-Mulga is going to be at the 35. It was 2 years ago. That was the last time you played England. It was only 2 years ago. But this is the thing, man. It's all well and good supporting your team being passionate, right? But as a realistic fan, you've got to look at it and, oh, Tonga here, Tonga here, Tonga here! No, taking it down 5 metres out. Hold on a second. I'll roast you in a moment. 5th tackle here, 5 metres out. They go to the right. Dimitri Vay-Mulga. Then they'll get Isaka. Come on, Tonga. Get a try. Get something in. Get something in. Go. Flicks it over the top. And 2. Legacy J himself. They've tried to throw the ball to him on the sideline. It is New Zealand ball at 10. Okay, Legacy. Bro, be realistic. This Tonga team right now would struggle to England based off how they're playing right now. And to counteract whatever point you're going to try and make, I will say that when Tonga played England 2 years ago, they lost comprehensively all 3 times or both times, whatever it was. Actually, I'm going to go have a look at it. Because regardless if it was 2 years ago or not, that was only 2 years ago. And not much has changed. 2023, internationals. 2023. We saw England win 22-18 over Tonga. We saw England win 14-4 over Tonga. And we saw England win 26-4 over Tonga. And right now, they've just gotten punched in the mouth by Samoa, and they're currently getting fiddled with by the Kiwis. So where's the confidence coming from? I want Tonga to succeed. I want them to be much better. But I feel like right now they're in a bit of a lull with their team list compared to what they have been in the past. I did outline in 2019, 2020, that Samoa were coming up. If you were an early subscriber to my channel, you would have heard that. And Samoa have made the come up. They are there. But things will change. Oh, New Zealand might score again here. They might score again. No, it's going to be a dropout, though. PNG will beat Tonga. I think that's a bit far-fetched. Papua New Guinea still didn't look great against Fiji yesterday. Fiji were just really bad. But it would be great for the game if they did. I doubt it, though. Kola, Stags, Kolomatangi, Hamoli, even Suli, hard shoes to fill. Can't really claim... Like, if Tonga are claiming Stags and Kolomatangi, then... And also you're forgetting Fafita. But if Tonga are going to claim Stags and Kolomatangi that's out in the full, Stags and Kolomatangi, then Fiji have got so many to claim overall, and specifically Nwani Tawase. But like, people criticise Fiji, and whilst it was deserved, justified to criticise Fiji yesterday, they are still without Latu Fainu, Sione Fainu, Samuela Fainu, Mark Nwani Tawase, Apisa Korowisau. Plenty of guys there in that team. Even Viliami Kikau. So many players in that Fiji team that will play next year. Fiji will be a bit of a force next year. It might be a bit of an underdog next year in a lot of ways with that full-strength team. Nintendo Freak says England have beaten all the Pacific nations recently. It's just when they play Australia, they poop their pants. When did they beat New Zealand? Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark's going to be 2 metres away from the line for third tackle. PNG, Jerome Luai's a gun, I must admit. Sometimes. Against New Zealand, not so much, but against Tonga, he was. And in the World Cup, he was great. Britt Nakora, short ball, Mati Tomoko. Try time for New Zealand. It's 22-0 with a kit to come. 22-0 with a kit to come. Tonga, unfortunately, it's not your international season this year. You just got to hope that you turn up against Papua New Guinea next week, because that would be an embarrassing loss if they lost to Papua New Guinea. 22-0 kit to come. 3 minutes to go. My boy Nana McDonald will get PNG the win. Can you imagine the scenes in Papua New Guinea if they were to win that game next week against Tonga? The scenes in Papua New Guinea would be raucous. It would be raucous. But it will turn into despair for the next Pacific Cup because then they'll have to play teams like Australia and New Zealand and get punched them out by 80. So try confirm for Mati Tomoko, and it's 22-0 with kit to come. I really hope Big Foz gets one. Yeah, it would be nice. If the ball had just been passed a little bit further backwards, he would have had a try. Backing him in. Yeah, it'd be good next week. And I do think that's a better viewership as well. Like New Zealand versus Papua New Guinea wouldn't have gained... Like, it would have still gained the Papua New Guinea audience, but no one really would have cared. I do feel like there will be a lot of people who have seen how Tonga have played these 2 games, have seen Papua New Guinea at the very least win both their games against lower opposition. But it was a comprehensive win over Fiji. A weakened Fiji lineup, but still a Fiji. Realistically speaking, Papua New Guinea might fancy themselves next week. Dero says, shame seeing the score somehow. Thought Tonga would make it a close game. I did too. I went 1-12 to New Zealand. I knew New Zealand would win, but I didn't think that... Like, I thought there was a possibility they'd win them by this much, for sure. But I thought Tonga would actually give it a lot more of a crack. And unfortunately, there's no crack here. The whip is gone. The whip is gone. Actually, let's go have a look at their missed tackle count now. They are... We're going to talk about that at halftime. I'm not going to say it right now. We're going to talk about their missed tackle start at halftime. We're not going to talk about it right now. No, we're not. We're not going to ruin our day. We're not going to ruin our day right at this very second. We're going to wait 2 minutes and 11 seconds before I ruin your, mine, and everyone's mental health looking at the missed tackles for Tonga in the first half. The Dingo says, I think they scrapped that winner of bowl versus loser of cup game this year. This right here, not you, this right here is the problem right now with rugby league. Because I had the same thought process as you. Then yesterday, in Fiji versus Papua New Guinea, the commentary, with about 10 minutes to go, said this was the last Pacific Bowl game, and the winner of this plays the loser of the Pacific Cup group next week in a promotion relegation. The commentary said that yesterday. So everyone's confused right now. What's happening? Are we seeing a promotion relegation game? Or is there just no final and there's no third place? Is it just the final of the New Zealand versus Samoa? I don't know, but the commentary yesterday said that there is a promotion relegation game next week. So I don't know shit at this point. None of us know anything. And if there is a promotion relegation game between Tonga and Papua New Guinea, where's the promotion for the game? It's just a piss take. It's an absolute piss take right now. It's a piss take. Jay says sneaky field goal time, mates. Well, second tackle Tonga at their own 20. A minute to, or their own 15. A minute to go the first half. Who eats our says, you're a crack up, bro. Appreciate, man. We're here for every single rugby league game. Lagan says they are selling tickets for the Pacific Grand Finals. Yes, but is that Pacific Grand Finals as in the Pacific? No, I don't think there is a women's game, is there? Is there a women's grand final next week? Or did Australia just win it today against New Zealand when they won 10-4, I think it was? All right. Well, lads, it is half time, and it is 20. Oh, well, there's a bin here for the Kiwis. Sorry, it just stopped, and now it's back on. There's a bin for Aaron Clark of the Kiwis. The Dingo says, yeah, they make it so confusing. The CommBank website says the schedule is Cookies versus South Africa World Cup qualifier, Women's Cup final, and Men's Cup final. For gosh sake. So, and now you got me giving this confusing shit over here. And then we've got Tonga going for 2 points down 24-0 in a game they need to win by 18. You got to be shitting me here, Tonga. You got to be shitting me no ends. Screw me drunk and call me Stacey. You're taking a 2-pointer down by 24 points with a man down for New Zealand 20 metres out, and you need to win by 18. You need to score, currently speaking, 42 unanswered points to go to the final. 42 unanswered points to go to the final. And you're taking a 2 down 24-0. It just took the 2, lads. It just took the 2. The Tongans just took it a 2. I don't believe it. I don't believe what I just watched. I don't believe it. Anyway, we're going to get into the halftime stats, and we're going to make us, we're going to try and forget what we just watched there. A team needing to score 42 unanswered points and 24 unanswered points to get back into the game. Just keep the 2-pointer. Really miraculous stuff. Really miraculous stuff. Okay, let's get into the halftime stats here from one of the most baffling decisions I've ever seen in my life. Hit that like button and subscribe it. Let's see these stats and give ourselves an aneurysm. So it's 24-0 to the Kiwis. Keanu Kenny, Dylan Brown, Case McLean, and Matty Tomoko are the try scorers. Now, possession-wise, not surprising, 62% possession to New Zealand, 38% possession to Tonga. That is a whomper stomper. Go to the time of possession, 14 minutes and 58 seconds there for the Kiwis, 9 minutes and 17 seconds for Tonga, which means, and it equates to about 24 minutes and 15 seconds. That's not a good amount of ball in play. We're seeing that more so from the error rate from both these teams, which is why there is not much ball in play here. You want to see at least 25 minutes, 26, 27, mainly 27 is a healthy number. They're not even at 25, so not a good amount of time in possession. Completion rate, you want to see at least a clean 80%. Well, guess what? Neither team here is at a clean 80%. The Kiwis are at 70%, 14 from 20, so 6 errors there. And then the Tongans at a miraculous 68% with 11 from 16. So both teams have had plenty of errors and their completion rate is suffering because of it. You want to be looking at 80%. Okay, runs-wise, this is hilarious. Okay, so let's just block out the score for a second. Let's just block it out. I'm going to read you some numbers here. Kiwis, 105 runs for 958 metres. So fair play. They're 92 metres behind the 10 metres in average per run that you're looking for, right? You're looking for a really solid number of 10 metres in average per run. They're at 958 from 105. Now the Tongans, they're at 60 runs for 420 run metres. So currently speaking, the Kiwis have run for 530 more metres. They've run for 530 more metres here, the Tongans. The Kiwis. 530 more metres. I think the Kiwis might be winning this game. Go to the post-contact metres. Mind you, the Kiwis down by 92 metres on the run metres, 10 metres in average per run, whilst Tonga are down by 180. Post-contact metres, 301 for the Kiwis, 171 for the Tongans. I do think that Tonga would probably be with an equated amount of possession, probably post-contact meters around the 270 marker, 280, so they'd be close enough to the Kiwis. And run meters-wise, if you're getting them to a close enough marker, you know what's funny? You could give Tonga double the amount of runs to get them to 120 runs, which would be 15 more runs than what New Zealand have. And if they're going via the same rate of 420 per 60, so that would be 840. They would still be 118 run meters behind New Zealand, even by giving them an extra 15 runs on what the Kiwis have now. They would still be down by 118 metres if they had 15 extra runs than what the Kiwis have now. That is diabolical. Line breaks, 6-0 Kiwis. Tackle breaks. NRL.com has 31. Broadcast had 37. NRL.com has 31 tackle breaks for Kiwis, 12 tackle breaks for the Tongans. Average set distance, we nearly turned the stream off. As we always say, the grouping is 25 and under, you turn the stream off, it's absolutely disgusting. 25 to 30 is pathetic. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is basically perfect. 47.93 for the Kiwis is fantastic. That is mid to upper range of the fantastic average set distance. They're making nearly 50 metres per set. That is huge. Tonga are at a whopping 26.25. They are 1.25 metres away from turning the stream off at halftime. 26.25. That is low end of the pathetic category. They want to be at least hitting 35 as a marker. They're 9 metres underneath that. 9 metres underneath that as an international team here. That is a 21 metre swing, nearly 22 metre swing from what Tonga are on to what New Zealand have. 22 extra metres per set is what you're seeing from New Zealand. That's crazy. Average play the ball speed. 3.2 and below is extremely fast. 3.21 to 3.39 is fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow. And 3.8 and above is extremely slow. The Kiwis are at 3.31 seconds. So they are fast. And the Tongans are extremely fast at 3.1. That is a very, very fast play the ball speed for Tonga. So this game is played at a very quick rate because both Kiwis and Tongans are in the fast category. But the Tongans are just in the extremely fast category. So this is being played at a very quick rate. Offloads, 14-3 Kiwis. The kick defusal is 100% for the Kiwis, 33% for the Tongans. Effective tackle percentage is maybe one of the worst tackle percentages you're ever going to see in your life. So 85% below is disgusting, just pathetic. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker. And then 90% above is fantastic, basically perfect. The Kiwis are, funnily enough, at 86.18%. So that's 1.82% behind where they need to be of 88% as a minimum. It's not great, but it's like a bit of whatever because they've only had to make 131 tackles, but they've had 12 missed tackles and 9 ineffectives. So the 12 missed tackles is 3 under the average of 15 to 17. So 3 under the lowest of the averages there. That's really good, and you'll take that despite the limited amount of tackles. But the ineffective tackles, despite having a limited amount of tackles they've had to make, they're 9. The average is 6 to 7. So they're actually having a lot of ineffective tackles. It's just the missed tackles are really bringing them back down. But with the limited amount of tackles of 131, which is 55 less than what Tonga has, 86.18% is not that fantastic. So if Tonga were able to actually, hold the ball and look like a competent international team today, this game would be a lot closer because they are missing quite a few tackles and ineffective tackles based off of the tackles made department. Then you go to Tonga, and we've just had to criticise the Kiwis here with 86.18. Well, Tonga is about 9% below them. They're at 77.8%. They're not 77.88%. So I'll give you your extra 0.08%. 77.88% is god awful. That is over 10% below the marker of 88%. You've got a flat line 88% that you need to at least see as a minimum defensively. They're at 77.88%. 77.88%? What on earth is that? Oh, yeah, see, the broadcast has 40 missed tackles for Tonga, mind you. On here, it's got 32 missed tackles for Tonga. On the broadcast, it says 40. So if you believe the broadcast, their effective tackle percentage is actually more so down around the 74% range. Which would be the worst defensive effective tackle percentage you would have seen all year, mind you. Ineffective tackles is 18. So on the NRL.com website, they are 15 higher missed tackles than the highest of the averages of 17. And they are 11 higher ineffective tackles with 18 than the highest of the averages. In the first half, Tonga completed 50 bad tackles. They only had 176 tackles made. They had 50 bad tackles, and New Zealand had 21. Tonga had 29 more bad tackles than the Kiwis. And I will say to you here that New Zealand have been playing some pretty damn well good footy. New Zealand have been playing some good footy. So whilst I think Tonga have been really bad, New Zealand have been very good. Now we go to the negative play, errors-wise. 3 and under is great. 4 to 6 is average, and then 7 and above is really bad, awful. New Zealand are at 6, so they're on the average. And then Tonga, I'm not going to surprise you here, they are on 8, so that is in the really awful category. Every single stat that we're giving you here, Tonga are not playing well in. Penalties conceded. Wow, well, this is definitely against New Zealand. 6-2 against New Zealand. That's awful from New Zealand standards. 2 is actually pretty good for Tonga. Ruck infringements is 1-1, and then New Zealand have obviously just had that sin bin to Aaron Clark. So, look, is this game over? Yeah, it is, because the Kiwis are up by 18 points. They're up by 16. No, what are they up by? 22 points. What am I talking about? They're up by 22 points right now. The Kiwis will win this game. But, surely we see a little bit of a better effort from Tonga in the second half. Surely, lads. Surely, because that's not even appropriate for children to watch this game at the moment. So 24-2, halftime the Kiwis. That's the stats, and there you go. Lagan says, this 2-point goal reminds me of when the Knights, I remember that. Yeah, took the 2 against the Storm at halftime when they were down by like 30 and ended up losing 50-2. I think they were down 38-0 when they took that, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 38-0. They took the 2 to make it 38-2, and then the final score ended up being 50-2. Yeah, I remember that game. Gave the fans something to cheer for. Thailand, stop it. Thailand, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Gave the fans something to cheer for. A 2-pointer? A 2 damn well pointer whilst down by 24-0. They're going to win by 18 here. They're going to win by 18. Sport says, Tonga, what are you doing? You use Tupou kick to him. Yeah, but they haven't had too many tackle opportunities, really. How good is McLean? Big, powerful, and fast, and only 19. Yeah, no, he has really come into his own this year. Massive. Like, if Tonga come back and the game's gone, game's gone. Tonga come back, game's gone. If Tonga come back, game's gone. I don't know what, New Zealand, right now they'll go in as favourites for that Samoa game for sure because they beat Samoa a couple of weeks ago. If Tonga came back to win this game like 26-24, they would not make the final. And I'm still confused about what's happening next week. I'm still confused. But if Tonga came back to state the game, then sure, you would see Samoa actually probably go in as favourites. Refresh the scoreboard, by the way. I don't want to because it suggests that Tonga got a 2-pointer, and I don't like that. I don't like that they took a 2-pointer down 24-0. I don't like it, but I'll do it. I'll do it to remain authentic. I'll put the authenticity on the screen. But if my team ever did that, the Titans, I would lose my shit. But I'm going to run to the bathroom here, guys, at half time. I'm going to run to the bathroom while I'm gone. Thumbs up, subscribe, keep commenting in the chat. And also don't forget to go subscribe to BKRtravel in the pinned comment. If you love travel content, we've got plenty of videos coming your way, son. So get around it. I'll be back in about a couple minutes' time. Damn it, Fiji. There's no bum gun. Bum gun in Fiji. No bum gun in Fiji. There also wasn't one in the Singapore hotel, which was interesting. Considering all of Asia, like all of India, Vietnam, Thailand all have it. Thailand not as much, but like Vietnam and India definitely. Singapore didn't have it. I think Malaysia might have actually in the place that I stayed in, but that was an Airbnb. That wasn't a hotel. Like I said, if the Titans did that, you wouldn't care because they do shit as bad as that every week. We'll get removed for a minute for reminding me of the Gold Coast Titans. You are getting removed for a minute for reminding me of the fact that I'm a Gold Coast Titans fan. Love my team. Don't want to hear about them right now. I'm in my rest and recovery period from being a Titans fan, so you reminding me of that. It makes me time you out, yeah. Even quit toilet paper. I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. Weird conversation, but I don't like it. I don't like the old bum gun. It's just weird. It's just a little bit weird. And I don't like the fact that when you're grabbing it, you're also grabbing where other people are always grabbing. And it's just a bit gross, in my opinion. But it's sure, some people enjoy it. The whole of Asia loves it. The whole of Asia really gets behind it. Noffa says, Tonga aren't winning this game. They will be lucky to beat PNG. Well, apparently now the PNG versus Tonga game isn't even happening. Apparently there isn't a promotion relegation game. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Olivia's just said, I love a bum gun. Didn't need to know that, Olivia. No, we didn't need to. Jay says, just a tad homosexual. I agree. A little bit. Why can't you just use the good old-fashioned toilet paper? Run like a horse. Oh, okay. That just went off the screen quickly. Kate says, Titans 26 premiers. Look, it's obvious Keanu Kenny scored the first try here today, and that is setting a precedent for what we're going to do in every game next year. Keanu Kenny absolutely demolished him for that first try, and it's just as simple as that, really. I bet the Golden Child loves a bum gun. Who's Golden Child? Sean James says, nuts up and spray away. It's different at first. Yeah, but I had it for like 8 months. From what? Early March until late October. Like, I had it. I never liked it. I was glad Singapore didn't really use it. But all right, Tonga are coming out here for the second half, guys. Well, let's see if we can survive this second half. This international season, unfortunately, has not been jam-packed with good games. Fight Club is the Golden Child. Oh, fair enough. I saw that Cardi was in Vietnam. Cardi from the AFL, he's been over in Vietnam. I think he went just after I actually left. Oh, Mr. Pink Fingernails. He's a big fan. Big fan. All right, so 24-2 to the Kiwis. Tonga down by 22 points. Kieran Foran looking like he's going to go out a winner on home soil. And hopefully this second half can be a bit more exciting than what we just witnessed. Because the only good game from this international season so far has been Samoa versus New Zealand, which I guess is what we're going to see in the final next week. Okay, so in all seriousness, though, I think Titans 2028-2029 premiers, I reckon we can turn around when Craig gets here. I will let you continue down that path. I will let you relying on a person that is not here and is not a part of the club right now is crazy stuff. All right, so Tonga is going to kick this ball off, and New Zealand are going to grab the ball here at the 3. The fact people are still talking about Craig Bellamy and the Titans is concerning me. It really concerns me, guys. It's not happened. It's not happened. If it happens in the future, sure, but it's not happened. Move on. Josh Hannay is the coach. It's as simple as that. All right, so it is a fit tackle here for the Kiwis. No, they get the offload away on 4 tackle, and it's Willison. Willison will be 38 metres away from the Tongan line. Liz Casey is positive. Yeah, positively crazy. Yeah. I would listen to Casey if Casey was saying that this team could adjust over the next 3 years and could be in a good place going forward. But to bring in Craig is just disrespectful to Josh Hannay. And it's actually kind of being disrespectful to the current direction that we're going in. So if Casey was to say that in 2028, 2029, the Titans can rebuild and be ready to go by then under Josh Hannay or under this direction, then I'd be like, yeah, shit, yeah. But to look towards somebody else who's not signed, probably won't be signed, and if he does get signed, won't be as a coach, which is years and years away, then that's why I have to reply like that. So third tackle. And it's like for years and years, I've sat here and circle jerked the Titans and tried to sell a positive story and tried to push a positive agenda and narrative down people's throats. And that clearly hasn't worked. So now it's more about being realistic. And realistically speaking, Tonga knocked this ball on. New Zealand now is Ipapaliti, flicks the ball out, Case McLean. McLean gets away from one. No, taking down the 44 on 0 tackle. Realistically speaking, I have to hold my club accountable, and I need to reply to you legitimately because there are a lot of cucks inside this club, and they don't deserve to have the constant fan positivity like we've given them for so many years, and they've been so underwhelming and force their fans to rely upon a win here or there to give them a happy feeling. And it's just like, no, I'm not going to buy into that anymore. I don't buy into that anymore. All right, New Zealand, third tackle. They're 4 meters out. They broke through 4 and knocked the ball on, and it's going to be a penalty to New Zealand, actually. Going to be a penalty. Casey, there's always 2 or 3 people in one skull. Embrace the madness. Exactly right. Penalty. No, sorry, but certain teams will never win, and the Titans will never win the comp. That's a stupid comment. No, but you come in with some normal comments, but that's a stupid comment. To suggest that teams come with the comp, it's like people said the same thing about the Sharks coming into 2016. They'd gone 50-odd years. You know, people say Eels would never win the comp. Well, they did win 4 New South Wales Cup effective premierships, but that was when it wasn't a domestic league or an international league back in the 80s. But no, to suggest that teams can't ever win the comp is ridiculous. You know, the same thing goes for baseball. No one thought the Chicago Cubs would ever win. They went 108 years without winning it, and they won. Same thing went with Leicester City. No one thought Leicester City would even be in the Premier League, let alone to win the comp, and they won the whole Premier League. The Western Bulldogs were the exact same. You know, there is many things that will prove you wrong. So, no, I completely disagree with you. And it's not even about the Titans. It's about in general. So, Osako here, 4 from 4. Historically speaking, the Titans haven't given any reason to believe in it. But also, historically speaking, most of the clubs I just referred to there have never given anybody any reason, and yet they went and won it. Like I said, genuinely, do you believe the Titans win a premiership in your lifetime? Yes, I do. What are we doing for the BKR 2025 Christmas party? Well, trying to get over this international season that's been really disappointing. Kiwis will kick a 2 here to make it 26-2. So go back up by 24 points. What we'll be doing is trying to we're probably going to go for a spa treatment, a mental health spa treatment to get past whatever this international season has been, because they've all just been blowouts and poor performances and mismatched teams. And unfortunately, the international game wasn't as exciting in 2025 as I expected it to be, and I feel like most people expected it to be. I did feel like Tonga would be a lot better. It was good to see Samoa do so well last week. At least we're going to see the only good game in the international season so far has been New Zealand versus Samoa, and we are going to see that in the final at the very least. Legacy says, why are you wearing a hat inside? Because your mum. Third tackle now for the Kiwis. They're at the 44, and it's going to be Britton Okora who brings this ball out now to the 50. 35 minutes to go here of the game. And Matty Tomoko off to Kieran Foran, and Foran to Nafahu White. Nafahu White's going to be about 42 metres out from the line of fit tackle Crossland to Kieran Foran. And Kieran Foran will whack this ball to the 5, where Daniel Tupou will bring it out here to the 10. There's just been no attack and go forward from Tonga across their first 2 games. Well, there are only 2 games. There's been no attack and go forward. Sione Katoa, he'll step. I do think Sione Katoa has still put his whole body on the line in both games so far. I do think he's been one of the few Tongans, and that's going to be a penalty here to Tonga. They'll take a quick tap. He's allowed to run. Elias Katoa. He'll get this ball out to the 50. Good strong run there. Good strong quick run. 45 metres out from New Zealand's line. Okay, come on, Tonga. Show us something. Score a try. Let the fans go wild and let us have a little bit of belief that maybe a miracle comeback would happen. Sonny Luke across to Dimitri Vaimalga. And Vaimalga, 20 metres out. Third tackle. Where will Tonga play Papua New Guinea? Nofo, I don't know if that's happening. The Dingo just came in and said that there's no promotion relegation game next week. So it's just so confusing. Everything's so confusing right now. If they do play, it'll be at Combank next week. If they do play. Out to the right to Isaiah Katoa, then to Lee Hapawade, and Hapawade is going to be 8 metres away here from the New Zealand line. Come on, get a bit of excitement going here. Tonga score. Come on. Have you got something? Just give us something. Just give us anything. Give us anything. They kick this ball across. Oh, knocked back. Oh, knock on against the Tongans. And 0 tackle for the Kiwis at the 7. They kicked it out to... if they put that ball on the try line for the kick, it's an easy try. That's on a Sakatoa, that poor kick. I think that, yeah, the NRL has had a bit of a schmozzle this year with the international game because if they don't have that promotion relegation game, they've missed out on a big opportunity with Tonga versus Papua New Guinea. Oh, Case McLean, great run to the 40 on second tackle. And knock on. Great run there from Case McLean, but it is a knock on a mundo. Knock on a mundo. He's a very strong player, though. Just 19 years of age. He's going to be an absolute star in the NRL. Again, he's with the Panthers. Be interesting to see how the Panthers fire up next year. I'm sure they'll be a top 4 team. Cleary just continues to not show his international or state pedigree, though, which is weird. Really strange. And penalty to Tonga. Penalty to Tonga for not packing the scrum quick enough. Lawrence, not our year, our young Tongan rookies. Welcome to Test Footy. Yeah, definitely not Tonga's year. They are missing guys like Omoli Olakwatu and Kola and David Fafita and the likes, but you know, Isaikatoa and Isaiah Yongi haven't necessarily shown out a fantastic amount. 55 seconds left of that Aaron Clark's sin bin. I forgot that Clark was actually binned, and Tonga have been going against 12 men for the last 10 minutes. Out to Vaimalga. Vaimalga, short ball to the line. Elias Katoa, he's 13 metres out. Second tackle. Tonga, if you score here, you'll be down by 18. Try time, Tonga. Dimitri Vaimalga Bushka. Try time, Tonga. Try time, Tonga. It is 26-6 with the kick to come. It should be 26-8 any moment now because this is going to be from right in front of the post. Well, Tonga, if you can get a bit of momentum here, then it is only an 18-point game, which is actually what you needed to win by, to be fair. But I'm not going to focus on that. The Tongan supporters are getting loud and proud right now, which is good to hear. They're still going to need another 18 points, though, just to win the game. They won't get into the final. They need 36 unanswered points to get into the final. They would need to win this game 44-26. Good luck with that one. Rookies, they have enough experience there. They have just been shite. They have been shite, yeah. They haven't been great. They haven't been great overall. But they are missing a few players, just like Fiji is too. Kay says, had this convo with my old man. Do you think Reece Wells should be as big of a star if he wasn't as good looking? In my opinion, yes. My old man's opinion, no. He'd still be a star, but not as popular. Not as popular is correct. Not as popular is absolutely correct. I would say, would he still be as big of a star if he wasn't as good looking? I think yes, but because he's also an attractive male, that brings in the female audience, and then that bigs him up on TikTok and Instagram and social media, which amplifies his role in the game. So whilst he's very good, he also has that. So it is definitely an addition and a bonus, but he would be absolutely a star in the game. He just wouldn't be the outside of the game star that we do see, if that answers your question. That is absolutely horrific from Tonga. They've let the ball bounce over the dead ball line. That is horrific from Tonga. So now it's going to be a dropout from Tonga to New Zealand. His head is too big for his shoulders. NZL says, good old Otahuhu. Not sure, but Tonga, for some reason, allowed that ball to bounce over the goal line. I have no idea what just happened. He wouldn't survive a game from the 80s or 90s. New Zealand will get the ball at 20. Sure, but comparing is crazy too, because Reece Walsh in the 80s and 90s, yeah, sure, he would have had his head taken off, but his sheer skill set and quality would still be fantastic. Yeah, they can't be serious, Tonga Mitchell, but they, funnily enough, are quite serious with that one. Kieran Foran out to Nafahu White, and Nafahu White's going to be 5 metres out. This is exactly what happens. Tonga score, this is what happens in the NRL. Teams score, they make a mistake off of the kickoff, and then the other team scores and just breaks their heart. 4 and 6 again, mind you. Dylan Brown, Charles Nickel Klukstad, and Nickel Klukstad is going to be 10 metres away from the line. Otahuhu is a place in New Zealand for Tonga. So fair enough. Thank you, Nofa. Out to the right, hits the grass at the 22. Osman's attitude is a massive problem. Ego is too big. Yeah, but I think that also comes from the looks department, and because he is untouchable in regards to females' eyes. Phil gets a good offload. Second tackle, still 15 metres out. Dylan Brown pushes through 1, pushes through 2, taking down to 5, gets the offload away. It's Papali'i. Papali'i looking for an offload, cannot do it. Third tackle, 7 metres out. Players in the 80s and 90s wouldn't be able to grab him. He's too electric. That's also valid. Kiwis, Chazzel, Klokstad, and that's what happens at Tonga. That is what happens when you do not get your own kickoff. You had a chance to come back in the game, and now you are out of the game. It is 30-8 with a kick to come. It is 30-8 with a kick to come. Also, I forgot to say, 29 minutes ago here, thumbs up, subscribe, slap it down, boom, boom. Chance, Nickel Klukstad with the try time. Chase is late, they would slaughter him. It's an old school mindset that you have. I think that on really wet, the pitches, are we talking that Reece is just straight up implemented from his game style now to what the game style was in the 80s, 90s? Or are we saying it's like a hybrid between now's game style and the 80s and 90s? Because like the 80s and 90s guys would get pinged in today's age. Every single tackle, every single set, they'd get sent off, they'd get binned, all this kind of jazz. So the guys from the 80s and 90s were great, would get absolutely destroyed in today's day and age. But also, if you're arguing that you're taking Reece Walsh directly into those days, then sure, yeah, Reece would get pummeled and it'd be a whole different game and they would take his head off. Iron Gaines says, you reckon Kummels could beat Tonga? Sure, but again, I don't know if that's happening next week. We just had somebody tell us that it's not happening next week. So I don't know. Noffa says, Tonga are useless, Rumo multi. Did you tip Tonga to win this game? Tonga need to change a coach. Their team is too good to be losing this bad. To be losing this bad, yes. To be losing to Samoa and New Zealand, not necessarily. But to be losing this bad to both those teams, yes. They shouldn't be losing by this much. Jay says, I'm taking him back to those days. I reckon he would struggle. Yeah, but can they catch him? It just depends on the field conditions and whatnot. For mine, I think it has to completely depend on field position, field conditions. Because if it's a wet, rainy track, then yeah, he's going to do jack shit. If it's a fast track, but then again, the grass back then it wasn't the same. It wasn't as quality as it is now. The groundskeepers do a fantastic job now. So I would say sure, I will agree with you, but that is a very specific thing to say that he is just taken from what he is now to back then. We wouldn't say he's got a time machine. I wouldn't mind going back to the 90s. Would love to go back to the 90s. Wet field would get slaughtered. Dry track, he comes up. Yeah, but the dry track isn't the same dry track as it is nowadays. The groundskeepers nowadays are so different. I still think Reece Walsh would have been a quality player, but a lot of what he's good for in the game nowadays wouldn't necessarily be positive for the game back then because it was a completely different game style. Yeah, Wolf was supposed to already finish, but wonder who will take over, or maybe after next year, Tonga committee corrupt to choose a Bilbu coach. I don't know what that means. Yeah, look, these organisations, unfortunately, do have a lot of questions that get put about them. Papua New Guinea's organisation do. Fiji's organisation do. I know Tonga had a pretty questionable thing that happened. No, it was Samoa that had something pretty questionable a couple of years ago involving Matt Parrish or something like that. No mud pits these days. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's why it comes down to conditions. But if, like, for example, Dylan Brown gets his ball at 33, we'll kick it up. 1 second. Tonga will get the ball at the 5. Hopawai juggles it, but he'll now be taken down to the 10. For example, if you're telling me that it's 80s/90s gameplay, Reece Walsh put into it, but on this field here, like a good track, so it's 80s/90s, but played on the fields we watch now on a dry track, Reece Walsh kills him. But again, we're being very specific about the way that we answer these certain areas. Third tackle now for Tonga at the 10, and Hopawade, not Hopawade. Not sure. Will Penasini brings about to the 20. Jim James says they were mud or dust bowls in the 70s and 80s. That's what I'm saying. It comes down to the conditions. And lost ball from Tonga. New Zealand now will get the ball at the 30. No, it's going to be a... It was offloaded from Tonga and knock on from New Zealand, so Tonga will get the ball. Mud or dust bowls, like, I think that regardless of conditions, Payne Haas translates straight in and he'll be fine. But, you know, you're talking like the older folk who don't give a shit about punch on and stuff. But then again, I'm sure Payne wouldn't mind it. To be fair, no 80s or 90s team played like the teams now. Reese plays like he does because of the Broncos structure. I take it back. Now he would get slaughtered because of how poor the attack was back then. Well, yeah, but a guy like him could absolutely tear it up as well. A guy like him could completely light it up back then. But the same argument can be made for majority of fullbacks nowadays. I think that probably the most likely fullback to transition from now to back then and be successful would be a guy like... Would probably be a guy like James Tedesco, or maybe even a Dylan Edwards. No, Dylan Edwards shops the ball too much. It probably would be a James Tedesco. Because it's not going to be any of the Titans fullbacks. Reese is, we've been speaking about that. Scott Drinkwater, no way. Fit tackle now for the Tongans at 30. Manly, Tom Trbojevic would get injured way too much. Otherwise, I would have gone Tom. If Tom wasn't injured so much, I would have gone Tom. Tonga, good take by Counter Kenny, and he'll be at the 15. Who else is there? Raiders, no way, KO Weeks. Charleston Krokstad, no. And Counter Kenny, no. Eels, Gufferson, no. No, it wouldn't be. Connor Tracy looks and plays like the 80s. No, mate. No. Tedesco would carve up in any era. That's what I'm saying, Dave. I think that Tedesco probably would be the go there. He probably would be the go across. Oh, jeez. Elias Katoa has been bloodied up today, man. He's been brutalised today. Love the Raiders' tall fullback Mullins Nandaraku. Noah Nandaruku and Mal Meninga. Mal Meninga, Noah Nandaruku, and Brett Mullins. Great days of the Raiders. Well, Nandaruku was a winger, yeah, and then Mal Meninga was the centre and Brett Mullins was the fullback, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think you add Tedesco into any team in history, and yeah, he would improve it. You reckon Teddy has taken over as the greatest fullback of all time? I think he passes Slater. I think you're absolutely off your rocker. I think Billy Slater is still definitely the best fullback of all time. But Tedesco is not exactly far behind. But if I'm taking a draft right now, and you're putting I'm first pick and it's a fullback, and you're telling me that I have to pick Billy Slater for my team, or I have to pick James Tedesco for my team, I am taking Billy Slater. I am 100%. Yeah, Ken Nagas on the other wing, Nofo, yeah. Eddinghausen was fast in his day. Yeah, that's before my time. My mum, Sharks fan, knock on Tonga here. Mum, Sharks fan, she loves Andrew Eddinghausen. Loves him. It's a bit of a disagreement on the field and then beers after. Yeah, exactly. So knock on Tonga. New Zealand will get the ball, hit the 15. The reason why we can't talk about whatever right now, guys, because this game is over and we already know what the final is going to be next week. Samoa versus New Zealand. Okay, says Brimdog Millionaire is the best fullback of all time. No. Keanu Kenny is the best fullback of all time. Keanu Kenny is the greatest fullback that ever exists on the planet Earth. On the planet Earth. By the way, I reckon we have a good chance of getting to that. Oh, jeez, this kid has his shirt off and he's dancing. I reckon we have a good chance of hitting 40K by the end of the year. I reckon we have a good chance of hitting 40K subscribers by the end of this year. We're only about, 1,200 off now or so? I think 1240, 1250. No, he isn't, Casey. He's not even first choice fullback for his club. That's why I referred to Counter Kenny. Second tackle now, 5 metres out from the line, but he is the second best fullback of all time. Ball sacks, and then followed by Will Zillman as the third best fullback of all time. Xavier Willison, third tackle, 4 metres away from the line. Crossland, he's going to go left off to Papali'i, and Papali'i will be 5 metres out, fourth tackle. E.T. was fast running away from Husbands too. Really? You're going to do him like that? You're going to do him like that? Aaron Clark, Kieran Foran, Dylan Brown, quick passing, Counter Kenny. Can't get the offload away. All right, Crossland off to Kieran Foran. Foran puts this ball up, chase through here, knocked back for a... Oh, this could be... No, it's going to be a dropout. Adam Fiddle-Blake forces it dead. It's so good, isn't fair. Yeah, Counter Kenny's the greatest player of all time. Not even close, actually. Cameron Smith, he has posters of Counter Kenny on his wall. Cameron Smith, Andrew Johns, Darren Lockyer, Billy Slater, and Jonathan Thurston, Cooper Cronk as well. They all have photos of Keanu Kenny on their bedroom walls. And I can confirm that to you as a fact. I can actually confirm it to you as a fact because I know. And don't ask me how I know, but I just know. So New Zealand knock it backwards and Tonga knock it forwards. So it's going to be Kiwis ball at the 12. They might challenge this, but please don't. It's going to waste everyone's time. 20 minutes to go at the game. Lotus, before your time, Blaze, I always remember Willie Kahn. Oh, Willie Kahn winning a State of Origin decided for the Maroons. Yeah. I know these guys' names. He was around at my early days, Willie Kahn. He was like late 90s, no, for the Bronx. What's he, late 90s? He would have been around the same time as like Andrew Johns and the likes, no? All right, and that would have been the same rough time as Wendell Saylor and Leda Kiri and that. All right, so New Zealand are 8 metres out from the line, second tackle. Willie Kahn and Renoff. Yeah, Stevie Renoff, Alfie days. Yeah, so that would have been late 90s, early 2000s. Out to Kieran Foran. Foran and Dylan Brown is going to be 3 metres away. Come on, get Kieran Fozzer a try. Get Fozzer a try. Come on. Third tackle. Let Fozzer kick a field goal. 20 minutes to go of the game. Thumbs up, subscribe. New Zealand, go for a quick little scoot. Isaiah Papali'i will be held short 1 metre out. He's not held over the line. Actually, Klein, he's not held over the line. Oh, he's got no try. What? The ball doesn't touch the ground here, Ashley. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. Even the try line. Even anyone with a brain or eyes saw that was not a try. We're going to be going and keeping this at the 1. If Ashley Klein has called this correctly and has seen that the ball has touched the line, I'll be very impressed because that looked like it was up by about half a metre at all times. Isaiah Papali'i, will he use his own player? No. There's no obstruction there. No obstruction. I don't think he's anywhere close to putting this ball down. Like, he fights hard for it. You're not going to see from that angle. It's closer than I thought. But I don't think so. No, it's up at all times. It doesn't touch the ground. It does not touch the ground. There'll be no try. And it's going to be still New Zealand ball, third tackle, half a metre out from the line. Give the ball to Fozzer, you cats. Give the ball to Fozzer. That's all we're here for. We just want to see a Fozzer try. Why are we still taking so long in the bunker? It's not a try. Okay, it's close enough, but it's not a try. Like, it gets really close, to be fair, but it was a no try. There's a Tongan in the crowd going like this, and it's like, well, that means a try. Lost, but still singing. They are. All right, so no try, and it should be New Zealand ball 1 metre out from the line. No, versus I can't believe how rubbish Tonga have been. This has been a very disappointing season for them. Very disappointing. Oh, strong run here from Aaron Clark, 10 metres away. They roll it back, crossland off to Kieran Foran. Foran, that's going to be a penalty in New Zealand here. Well, I don't know why Ashley Klein has just penalised it. Why don't you penalise it after the kick? Play advantage. So that's going to be a penalty of the Kiwis. Don't go for the 2. Please go for the try here, New Zealand. Please go for the try. Yeah, it's fine. It's a penalty. Not clearing the ruck. It's a penalty. I'm still tired after the early morning this morning. Let's give it up for Tonga, currently tying 6-6 in the second half. Yeah, for how long? New Zealand are 10 metres out with the ball. Tackling opposition 20. 5 times for Tonga, 36 times for New Zealand. All right, to Muddy Martin. Left to Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown, then Keanu Kenny, Casey McLean, and he's going to be taking over the sideline for sure. No, he's throwing the ball back on the inside. And no, he's going over the sideline. So that was a waste. That was a waste. So Tonga will get a ball here at 10. Oh. Yikes. New Zealand have packed it in. That's why I think about next week. Yeah, for sure. You're not going to tire yourself out. Samoa will be a big battle next week. It was a good battle, 24-18. New Zealand have a Samoa 2 weeks ago, but Samoa probably should have won. They just didn't have enough in them to put it to bed. So next week will be very interesting. Who do you reckon will win the cup? Tatata says, if New Zealand play like they did today, like if they include their attack from today alongside their performance from against Samoa 2 weeks ago, I am taking New Zealand. But Samoa's performance last week was really good, and the first week it was like they probably should have won, but they just didn't have the clinic. They weren't clinical to put the getting as many tries as they probably should have. So it's a hard one. I will probably go the safety ending of New Zealand, but Samoa can absolutely win it. It'll be close. Oh, Keanu Kinney got absolutely rocked in the tackle there by I think Val Malga, who Val Malga's been good today. Val Malga has been very good for Tonga. Very good. Lagan says, I reckon Cook Islands have had a more successful year than Tonga. Contextually, yes. Contextually, absolutely. Because Cook Islands only lost by 6 to... Oh, they lost by 12, but realistically 6 to Papua New Guinea. And they showed at least a bit of something. They still scored 24 points and 28 points against Fiji and Cook Islands. And Papua New Guinea. So, yeah, contextually speaking, Papua New Guinea, Cook Islands have had a better year than Tonga, but that obviously is very contextually. Kieran Foran at the 37. He'll kick this ball down to the 15, and it'll be first tackle for Tonga. Jimmy James said that Willie Carney try that was not given in an Origin game was the one I remember. Such a bad call. I think that was a bit before my time. Who's coming out here? Was that Elliot Sikatoa in the Medicab? Second tackle. I can't stop yawning now. But we were up late for that England-Australia game. Third tackle now at the 38. Only a good sleep tonight, that's for sure. That's for sure. Fourth tackle, Jason Tamalolo. Jeez, you're starting to show your physicality now, Tonga. Starting to show your physicality now. Fifth tackle at the 44. It's like you're only down 38. You need to win this game 48-30. 48-30. If that happens... We take our clothes off on stream and we give the channel to a nun from Romania. That's what we'll do if Tonga found a way to win this game. So first tackle for New Zealand at the 15. Now Matty Tomoko will get the ball to the 25 on second tackle. Yeah, it's weird to say that. Cook Islands haven't had a year. They have Casey McLean. He'll get this ball to the 33. 40 points for Tonga is still on, lads. Still on, just without the on part. But it's still waiting for the dribble to stop. Fourth tackle for New Zealand, and they'll be at the 45, and it'll be Joseph Tarpany who'll get this ball to the 40 on Tonga's side of the field. Jason, stop yawning. I can't stop yawning. Okay, Isaiah Papali'i. They're going to score again. Casey McLean back on the inside. Dylan Brown. That, my friends, is a try time, but Dylan Brown is grabbing at his stomach here. That is a try time for New Zealand. They're going to check the bunker, but that is a try time to the Kiwis. Oh, they've actually said play on. They haven't looked at the bunker. Bunker will get involved anyway. Good run from Isaiah Papali'i, and then he just gets a good pass to Case McLean. McLean, it's just tipped back there from the number 19 for Tonga. But Dylan Brown will grab it, and it is still on for a Fitty Bomber. There is still on for a Fitty Bomber for the Kiwis. Still on. I can't stop now, Jay. I can't stop yawning now. I can't stop. It's impossible. 34-8, kick to come. So Sebastian gets it. Sebastian. Cliffy Wooden says, I feel you've been up all night. I'd be in bed in an hour. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely be having a relaxing night tonight. I might go get some unhealthy food for dinner. That's what I'm thinking of. I might go get some unhealthy food for dinner. And then just chill out, maybe watch some Netflix. Kick back tonight. New BKRtravel video coming out tomorrow. There's actually a poll up on BKRtravel that I want you guys to answer. There's a poll asking you if you'd prefer tomorrow to be an Archit Singh music reaction from India, or a hotel review from the park in Delhi, or a discussion video where someone asked me What was it? Someone asked me, how is it with the crowds in India, and how do you like get around with how many people are in the crowds? Basically, is effectively the question. Can't believe I picked Tonga to win in a close. Well, Nuffo, not a happy chappy. Well, I picked New Zealand to win a close one. I'm happy that I at least got the correct answer, but unfortunately, I was not correct in regards to the margin. Michael says, PNG wins the bowl, Kiwis wins the cup. I hope Toa Samoa could win. It'd be nice to see Samoa win. They've never won anything before. They've never won anything. Never won anything. So, Tonga Samoa. Papua New Guinea at least won the Pacific Bowl. Fiji have never won anything. But then again, Fiji deserved to win anything after what we saw yesterday. They deserve nothing. They deserve nothing. Nothing after what we witnessed yesterday. Not a single nothing. Angus Payne says, I think Kiwis to win. That's phenomenal, Angus. That's a really phenomenal thought process. I'm really impressed by that. Tonga knock on. Angus, I think I need to really take my hat off you today. I'm not going to do it, but like I think I need to. It's been really impressive commentary from you today, Angus. You think that New Zealand are going to win? Well, there's 13 minutes to go. I think you've got to be careful that Tonga don't score 30 unanswered points in the next 13 minutes. But thank you very much for your prediction, and I'm probably going to say you might be right. You might be right. Laura says, feel Toa got a chance playing in Australia, but the Kiwis could have won the final if played here in New Zealand, maybe. I think it's 60-40 New Zealand either way. Or 55-45. It'll be close. I guess I would agree with that. Tonga are looking hopeful. They're not looking too hopeful right now. The old Lagan. They're not looking too hopeful. Not looking too great. But anything can happen in 12 minutes 42. We only need to see a convert try at Tonga, like 5 times? 14, 20, 26, 32, 38. 5 converted tries in 12 and a half minutes. All you need to do is score a try every 2 and a bit minutes. Actually, forget that. New Zealand knocked the ball on. So they're very lucky because it was nearly 6 tries in 12 minutes. But knock on from New Zealand. Kim Foran's come off the field. He has come off the field, so we're going to see his final try next week. Final try next week. Aaron Clark might have had a try there, but he unfortunately just wasn't able to hold on to it. Motocrat says, out of the two, who have had worse performance versus expectations so far, Tonga or Fiji? Tonga. Tonga were favourites against Samoa, and they weren't massive underdogs here against New Zealand. They were still underdogs. They were 3-1. So that's still decent enough underdogs, but they were pretty heavy, pretty strong favourites against Samoa. I didn't see it. That's why I tipped Samoa. Fiji, very unimpressive yesterday, but at least did the job against the Cook Islands. So the performances, it's very difficult because they're in 2 different groups. I would have loved to have seen Papua New Guinea versus Tonga to see next week kind of how it all comes together. But again, someone told us that that's not happening next week. Tonga have the ball at 44. If it happens next week, I'll be able to give you a really good answer to that. If it doesn't happen next week, then I won't be able to tell you really much at all. Now to the left, Leo Mawada. He'll be at the 50. 5th tackle for Tonga. 10 minutes. Oh, gee. 10 minutes to go here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe despite the fact that I'm yawning. 10 minutes to go. New Zealand get the ball at 25. First tackle. No, they get the offload away. Chance has got a bit of a hole here. He's got a bit of a hole here. He's away 30, 35, 40, 43. Taken down first tackle. Good run, though. 10 minutes until I can close my eyes. Fisher Harris will get this ball to the 45. It's going to be so brutal next Sunday morning. A 2 a.m. start for a game that is literally meaningless. We've seen 2 really poor quality games between Australia and England, and it's a 2 a.m. start for a game that has no ramifications for anything. It's going to be diabolical, lads, but I will be here. I will be here. To the left, and Chance Clocks will get crunched by Sione Katoa. Katoa on 4th tackle. He's there. So not the Chance off to Joe Tarpany, and Tarpany is going to be 25 metres out because the offload away. Crossland off to Aaron Clark. They're still going here, Kiwis. They're still going. They want to keep this attacking fluidity going. They get the offload away to Monty Martin. Fisher Harris then gets it across to Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown looking for something. He's still stepping. He flicks it. No, he doesn't flick it. 5 metres out, 5th tackle. 9 minutes to go. They go quickly to Money Martin. Flick ball inside. Knock on from the... No, Cross and will score. 40-8 with a kick to come. Tonga, time for bed. Go to bed and good night, Tonga. It's time for bed and good night, Tonga. I thought that was a knock on, but Crossland actually does hold on to that and does score, so it is 40-8 with a kick to come. Kind of boring Oz versus England. Don't think Oz left second gear, to be honest. No disrespect to England. All disrespect to England. Really good grab there for Crossland, actually. So good try. 40-8. Should be 42-8, you would expect. And still a chance for a fitted bomber. Laurie says, agree, Tonga underperformed this year. Capable of being better, but on paper actually deserved with new group of players, high expectations, but didn't gel. I would currently debate your coach. But the halves, Samoa's halves have gone past Tonga. Are we there yet? Jay says, we've still got 8 minutes, 44 seconds to go the game. Still got 8 minutes and 44 seconds to go the game. Hey, Nofo, I've got a question for you. It's a really big question. Do you still think Tonga might win this game in a close one? Do you still think it might be a close one? I'm starting to feel maybe no. I'm starting to feel maybe potentially no. It's looking a bit debatable right now that Tonga can win this game in a close one. But then again, Angus Payne did say, I think the Kiwis win. He didn't say he'd know the Kiwis would win. So right now it's looking pretty likely, but he doesn't know yet. He only thinks Kiwis to win. And Jermaine Sarko will miss the kick, hits the pose. It will stay 40-8. Sean says Jay Herbal Tea helps. Now, Jay would come up with a conspiracy about the Herbal Tea. Matacross says England team should just fly over and take part in the cup instead of getting their back broken in a 1v1 with Oz. But see, Matacross, you got to remember last year they beat Samoa twice, and the year before that they beat Tonga 3 times. You know, those two teams went over to England and got whooped in the last couple of years, whilst Australia gone over and got easy wins in second gear. I would assume New Zealand are the team that goes over in 2027. It's like they get it all their way. All the teams come over to them, and yet they still underperform against Australia like they did. You know, how do we improve that side of the world? Chance gets away from 1, gets away from 2, now taking out the 50. David says, just tune in, Blaze. Had a cricket score or what? Yeah, we're already getting early into the Australia versus England Ashes series, just with New Zealand, Tonga, and Rugby League. The Ashes starts up in about 20 days' time. Actually, I was going to do the 2020 tonight between Australia and India, but I'm just too tired after that Australia versus England game last night. Joe Tarpany, they're 30 metres out. We'll get the offload away. It goes backwards. It's fine. It'll be 4 tackle at 30. No, they're going to call knock on. They're going to call knock on. I want to look at these missed tackles for Tonga. It's be interesting. And it's very interesting. 54 missed tackles. 54 missed tackles is insane work. T20 and shit. Anyway, yeah, but it could have been good viewing. But no, we might do the 2020 on. I still think there's 2 more 2020s after this. Yeah, on Thursday and Saturday next week. We don't have much on otherwise. Laurie says, no club challenge this year. Broncos probably would have won it anyway. I believe there is a club challenge. Someone was saying there was a club challenge. Someone was saying they're trying to plan it. Broncos versus Hull, I think it is. No, not Hull. Who won it? Was it Hull? Someone won the Super League. And it wasn't Dasmates London Broncos. And it wasn't that Newcastle team that lose by about 100 every week. Finals about the only thing worth watching. Finals? Are you talking about like specifically NRL finals? Tonga go to the right. Siwa Wong still going. 20, 15, 10, 5. Oh, he's lost the ball. Oh, he threw the ball back on the inside. It's going to be a dropout. He threw the ball back on the inside in case McLean picked it up and took it out. I thought that was going to be a try or a knock on, but nope. In the T20. Well, it's a 5-game series. So Australia won the second one. The first one was rained out, I believe. So this is the third one now. Australia 1-0. We ever do UFC streams at all? It's just too hard to be consistent with them because the UFC is on at the same time the NRL is on when the NRL season is on. So I have to make a choice. And I don't like making a choice with this channel because then you disappoint people by streaming, say, UFC when there's NRL on. And then if you do the NRL, you're disappointing the people who subscribe for the UFC. So you kind of have to just, if you're doing consistency across the entirety of the sport, you have to just pick, like you pick NRL and then you try and find another sport that's not on at the same time. For example, Super League, or for example, Premier League kind of stuff. But then the two sports are very different. So the people who watch this might not necessarily watch this. Third tackle, 5 meters out. I used to do some UFC streams, but it just got confusing. Third time. That's why I've really focused on BKRtravel over these next couple of weeks to focus on specific like areas. So India will be first, and then Thailand will be next, and then Vietnam and Malaysia and all that will be their own parts instead of just going random here, there, everywhere. Tonga over the top. Daniel Tupou with the try time makes it 40-12 with a kick to come. And the crowd goes wild. Tonga will score to make it 40-12 with a kick to come. 4 minutes 42 to go. And last try wins. Last try wins. Oh, maybe not. No, Ashley Klein is saying it's a try. David says, how hard would it be to stream PGA golf? Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, man. Could not do it. For people who do that by themselves, I'd take my hat off to you. Daniel Tupou, just too easy in the corner. He gets it over. 40-12, get to come. Yeah, couldn't do golf. I did do baseball a few years back. I like baseball, though. Baseball World Series was crazy Game 7 today. But Across says, I'm still mad I was able to watch that UFC fight just to see Tom get fingered last week. Yeah, I'm still mad that I was up all night last night to watch Australia versus England in an absolute fizzle fest. Should do Rugby League 1 streams. What's Rugby League 1? So Sai Katoa here from the sideline. Rugby League 1. And Sai Katoa will make the kick, so it will be 40-14. Last try wins. So Tonga's currently playing Samoa next week. Good to hear the crowd still getting behind the Tongans, though. Japanese Rugby League. Nah, I'll do Super League. I didn't even know that existed, Japanese Rugby League. I did not even know that was in existence. You would get about half a person watching. Half a person watching per stream for a Japanese Rugby League. I don't even know how much viewership will be for the English Super League, but, you know, we may as well expand a little bit and do more of the games. We have a better understanding about England going into... England and arguably Papua New Guinea going into World Cups. Sean says, golf is the most frustrating game in the world. It shows if you are a fuckwit or not. Can you hit a little ball with a stick? It is such an incredible game because, and to play, not to watch, but to play, because even the professionals, the best of the best, still shank shots. They still make awful shots, and they can still absolutely do a tank job on the golf course. So no matter how good you are, you're going to get some amazing shots more consistently. A lot more consistently, but you can still be very bad at it at times. Which other sports, it's not going to be the same. A lot of other sports will be different. Baseball, someone tends to watch. Yeah, it is. Baseball's incredible. But then again, Australians don't really vibe it because they've got cricket. Should have tuned into the English Premier League would be more interesting than that Fizzle Fest. Well, I did, and that guy still isn't able to get a haircut for Man United. That guy's never getting a haircut, eh? Fit tackle now for Tonga at the 50. So people who don't know, there's a guy who's a content creator for Man United on Instagram who is not getting a haircut until Man United win 5 games in a row. And it's been like 390 days or something, 380, 390 days since he started the challenge, and he's still got the big frizzy hair. And United had won 3 games in a row. They were 3 games in a row, and they were looking likely that they were going to be able to get their 5 wins in a row, especially considering they were playing Nottingham Forest, who have not been good this year, and they drew last night. So now he's back to square one. I don't know his name, Davo, but it's funny because I don't think he'll ever get his hair cut. 2.5 minutes to go here in the game. Tonga will have a final chance to try and make it a 40-20 game. And quickly, Daniel Tupou with the 30. Still going, 25 metres out. First tackle. I'm terrible at golf. Apparently, I never follow through properly and hit off my back foot like a cricket-style hit. Poo game. No, it's a great game. It's a great game. I don't find time to play it too much, and sometimes I'm not patient enough. Did I watch Game 7 today? Yeah, I did, Michael, yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. When Rojas hit that home run to tie it up at 4-4, I knew Dodgers had won it then. But it was so reminiscent of 2016 when with the Cubs and Cleveland Indians game. So many reminiscent. It's just that the Dodgers were able to complete the comeback rather than what the Indians couldn't do against my beautiful Cubbies. Get the Cubbies. Oh, the Cubbies. Sean says, can I bring back a question about the war dance? Yeah, go for it. Laura says, thanks for the commentary, Blaze. Congrats, Kiwis and Samoa for next week. Time to go party with my flag. Yeah, enjoy. Jay's in 9. Yeah, Jay's in 9, Daz. It's coming. It's coming. Oh, how would you feel, though, being that pitcher? I can't think of his name. Was it Bennett or something like that? And they're up by 1 in the top of the 9th. And then to give, and 1 out, and then to give that a home run away is brutal in a game 7. Michael says that home run tie up is like Ray Allen game tying 3 in terms of to push overtime. Who was it who hit that home run for Cleveland Indians against the Chicago Cubs in 2016 and tied up? It was a 2-run home run too. I'll never forget Benny Zobrist getting that hit to push us in. Then Rizzo not Rizzo. Chris Bryant to Anthony Rizzo to win it. But who was that player? Oh, he's a very successful player for the Cleveland Indians. I can't think of his name. Out to the left, Tunstall Clockstad. Casey McLean, he'll be at the 35. And he's going to go over the sideline. No, he stays in. Go for a field goal. Go for a field goal, you cat. 16 seconds left. They put the ball up in the air. And Tonga will get the ball here at the 15. 7 seconds to go the game. Motocross says it was a great series, and I don't even particularly like baseball, but I was on my feet for lots of those games. All the series were great, to be fair. Seattle versus Toronto was amazing. Chicago versus Milwaukee was great. Too bad the Milwaukee's are scum dogs. And then you've got there was so many fantastic matchups in the MLB for sure. David says, some of the crowds they get in those baseball games is insane. They really love their sports over there. Well, everyone loves their sports. Australia does the same thing, but they've just got more of a population overall. But all right, guys, the final score here is 40-14. Unfortunately, it wasn't as great a game as we were hoping for. We will see New Zealand play Samoa in the final next week, which will be live for. I don't know if Tonga are going to be playing Papua New Guinea or not. There's so many words here, there, and everywhere that suggest yes, and then there are some that suggest no. So just stay tuned. But guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. I'm so tired after last night's late night that I'm going to head off to have a bit of a chill and sleep. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you out throughout the weekend. If you haven't subscribed to BKRtravel yet, go pump over there on BKRtravel. Appreciate you. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya. Go to Cubbies. Go to Cubbies, bud.